Hello everyone, Squee here, and welcome to Ardenfell, Winter's Candle, our second tabletop RPG campaign set in the custom setting of Ardenfell that was written and developed by me, yours truly. The map that you're looking at is drawn by the lovely Criana, who will be one of the players in our campaign, and I want to take a moment before we get into it to introduce the campaign setting and discuss what has taken place in the setting to change it since the ending of campaign 1. If you are familiar with the first campaign of Ardenfell, fantastic, welcome back. I hope you're excited. If you have never seen the campaign of Ardenfell, by all means, there's going to be a link in the description below to the playlist. It's very long, but it's very fun. But you don't necessarily have to watch that to enjoy this one. You will be able to follow along with this introduction that I give you. First thing to note, if you want a very detailed layout or dive into the history of Ardenfell, how it became the nations that it had, and descriptions of each nation within Ardenfell and what their cultures are like, the link in the description below for that playlist, the very first video, it's about an hour long, goes very deeply into Ardenfell. All the different races, all their kingdoms, their cultures, what they're like, the history of the nations. It's well worth the watch if you are completely new to the setting of Ardenfell. So if you want, you can pause it, go watch that, come back. I'm not going to rehash most of that simply because it takes time and we want to jump into it. So I'm going to be speaking from this point forward, assuming you have that knowledge, as best I can. So, when the first campaign ended, at the end of the Demon Wars, the lead demon of the invading army, Azrael, was defeated. He wasn't killed. He, in fact, was kind of saved by the heroes of the war. They were called the Heroes of Ardenfell. And it was interesting, I don't want to spoil too much, but the solution they had to that war was quite interesting indeed. Of course, these heroes consisted of Pearson, the loving father who got back into heroing for the sake of his family, Cole, the orc that grew up in the forest and was very strange for orcs, Finian, the high elf, Keen, the human bounty hunter turned dragon, yeah, that was fun, and Jarek, the half-dead wizard from Coalhaven, who eventually fulfilled his destiny and became the Lich King. Again, if you haven't seen the campaigns, none of that's going to mean a whole lot to you, but if you have, you'll know exactly what I'm talking about. I will briefly cover the fate so far as we know, of the heroes before I continue on, as it has been 75 years since the end of the Demon Wars in the first campaign. Unfortunately, Cole and Pearson have passed away. 75 years is a very long time for humans and orcs, especially when you're already adults. But their legends live on, especially Cole's, and I will get to that a bit later. Finian is alive, as far as everyone knows, though where Finn is at the moment is completely and currently unknown. Keen is alive and well, as he is now actually and physically a dragon, and dragons live for a very long time. He is with his wife Olivia on Windfall Isle and is a dragon of some importance. That would leave, of course, Jarek. Jarek, the Lich King, spent time raising his ward, the future queen of Coalhaven, and when she was old enough, Jarek went on a sabbatical and disappeared, and has not been seen well over 50 years, despite being the Lich King. And for those of you who don't know, the Lich King is the ruler, or the leader of the Wastes. Now, the Wastes are a section of land in the southwestern peninsula that is barren and dead. It is home to unspeakable evils in the sense of vampires, werewolves, zombies, and even worse creatures. And Jarek, while being the leader of that, never showed much interest in wanting to actually rule it. In fact, seemed to hate everything about it. So he disappeared, and no one has seen him for over 50 years, which has caused problems that I'll get to in a second. Now that we have a kind of an understanding of what happened to our heroes, as far as I'm willing to tell you so far, what about the world itself and the major players in it? Well, as you can see, Whitebridge, the beautiful gem of the Freelands and past capital, has not been rebuilt. In fact, it was the epicenter of the Demon War, it was the hardest hit, and it was turned into a lava-filled wasteland that still has not recovered to this day. And even to this day, there are still enormous amounts of demons and very powerful monsters that roam that area. It is a very nasty area that people do not go into by choice. The capital of the Freelands has since moved to the coastal city of Avertan. Avertan is a very large city on the coast that Lady Selene, the leader of the Freelands, has made her new capital. She is still alive and well. She is a bit older, but being a sorceress of much power, she is able to live longer than the average human, and will probably still live quite a while more even after this. I mean, assuming she doesn't die in the campaign, but yeah, that's neither here nor there. The kingdom of Moonhelm, the Dwarven kingdom, has changed very little, as they are a nation of sturdy people who don't like change. The biggest things to note for Moonhelm is that they have increased their production of golems, which are automatons, or forge-born, I guess you could say. They are machines, mechanical machines. You saw a few of them in the first campaign that are sentient beings, kind of like androids that are run on magic. They are much more common in the world now. Another thing that has developed over the past 75 years are items called materia. Materia are small gemstones infused with small amounts of magical power that act as one-use items that can be infused into weapons and armor to provide the bearer of all kinds of benefits. They are considered cheap, relatively, and very popular, and their spread through the land of Ardenfell has been quite exceptional in the past 20 years. The capital, the country of Coalhaven, again, very little has changed in Coalhaven, as they are a type of people who don't like change. Same for the Wood Elves in Alanacy Forest. They have changed very little as well. The biggest changes come from Luthien. The High Elves never took part in the Demon Wars in the first campaign. In fact, it was discovered later that emissaries from the demons had actually pulled the wool over Luthien's eyes, the High Elves, and made it so that the High Elves didn't know who was at fault, and without knowing who was at fault, they didn't want to take sides. Well, this turned out to backfire on them after the Demon Wars, as all the other races started to not like them due to their lack of participation in the Demon Wars. The Dwarves, the Wood Elves, Coalhaven, and even the Freelands gave Luthiens a very hard time, as they felt that many lives could have been saved if the High Elves had actually helped out. And they started to shun Luthien. And Luthien, who felt that they had done no wrong in the first place, became an isolationist nation. The idea being that they closed in on themselves and the rest of the world let them, and 75 years later they are now a secretive kingdom that has become very isolationist. They do not allow anyone that is not a high elf into their lands. They will kill people on sight. No one in the Ardenfell is really clear what's going on in Luthien, what they're doing now, what their plans are, or anything of that nature, simply because Luthien does not converse or make contact outside of their nation anymore. They have truly become an isolationist kingdom. And the orcs. You'll notice on this map that the wastes have grown exponentially. Starting about 50 years ago, the waste started growing exponentially, pushing the orc kingdoms further back. The orcs attempted to stem the tide, even with the help of the dwarves, who had grown quite considerably in their relationship after the Demon Wars, as the orcs had been instrumental in the victory, to the point where now there are even armies that consist of dwarves and orcs wearing the same golden dwarven armor and stand side by side fighting the wastes. However, despite their best efforts, the waste slowly crawled through all of the orc kingdom and displaced all of its residents, and now the orc kingdom of Zolgaha is no more. The orcs divided into two separate people, you could say. Some move to Moonhelm, where they continue their semi-nomadic ways, staying in camps and tribes, and usually will do so around or near dwarven cities as their relationships with the dwarves improve. However, the other half of the orcs migrated to the Elanisi Forest, wanting to follow in the footsteps of their famed hero Cole, who grew up in the forest. These orcs worked very hard to adapt to forest living, becoming friends with many of the halflings and wood elves there, and now, after several generations, have become almost as adept at hunting in the forest as their wood elf cousins. Windfall Isle has hardly changed at all as the dragons continue to keep it. The only main difference is that a small town or settlement has cropped up at the southern part of Windfall Isle that acts as a diplomatic and commerce hub for people to interact with the island of the dragons. But for the most part, the dragons, considering themselves above most mortals, do tend to keep to themselves. The drow up in the north, who were hardly ever touched upon in the first campaign, continue to live their nomadic tribal ways up in the frozen tundras. However, there are issues that are causing them to start filtering down and become much more common within Ardenfell itself. These issues are playing a large part in this new campaign, which is the fact that the world is growing colder. Every year the winters are growing longer and the summers shorter, and no one really understands why. And while islands like Windfall Isle aren't really feeling the brunt of it, and while the Freelands and Coalhaven can certainly get by even though they are not used to such cold winters, places up north like the frozen tundra, this is becoming unattainable. The drow are starting to actually die due to the extreme cold and the exposure, and they have come to the conclusion that they are going to have to start looking for a new home if the land continues to grow colder. They only have very few options, obviously, and last time they tried asking for home and refuge, it started a war which got them exiled to the tundra. So this time they're trying to be more intelligent about it and sending people down into the world of Ardenfell to understand it better, to know what their options are. Another thing, now that we've covered basically the state of the land right now, that I do want to cover is the wasting. Now, the wasting is a disease that is suffered by all varieties of elves, drow, wood elves, and high elves, and this is something that was present in the first campaign that was never addressed or touched, and I want to bring it to light as it will play a bigger part in this campaign. The wasting is a disease that elves suffer, where it seems to be completely random, without pattern, rhyme, or reason. It can affect young, old, middle-aged, the weak, the strong. It does not seem to have any sort of logic to it. But once you develop the wasting, you slowly lose your will to live. And when I say slowly, it can be quite fast or quite slow. It depends on the elf. Elves who live more exciting lives and try to struggle against it can survive for a few years, but others can waste away within the matter of weeks. And as their will to experience life wastes away, so does their body until they die. It is, on average, or last time it was examined, about a third of all elves experience the wasting at some point before they pass away. It is a horrific thing that most elves do not like to talk about, and most of the rest of the world likes to avoid it in conversation, as it is a dreadful disease that no magic seems to be able to cure. With all that out of the way, let me start to lay down the groundwork for the current campaign that we will be starting here. As I said, the waste have starting to grow exponentially. They have taken all of the orc kingdoms, and they are continuing to grow, and despite the best efforts of the dwarves and orcs, it is estimated that within another 10 years the waste will overrun the dwarven kingdoms, and in another 20 years it'll overrun the free lands themselves if nothing is done to stem the tide. Lady Selene, with her young but very powerful bodyguard, took a trip into the waste to determine the cause of this and what might be done about it. And when they came back, they immediately called all the kingdoms together in an emergency session. Now, we don't know exactly what took place in that session or what was talked about. The world is not really aware, but when they came out of that session, they called for a great hunt and said that in order for the expansion of the waste to truly be stopped, its rightful ruler had to return to it. This, of course, means finding Jarek, the Lich King, who hasn't been seen in over 50 years. So all of the kingdoms of Ardenfell, minus Luthien, who again is a separationalist kingdom, have put a call through the lands for proposed hunters to join together in Avertan, where Lady Selene will address them and dub them as actual hunters, with the quest to find Jarek and several other tasks that will be laid before them, with the hopes of stopping the spread of the wastes. Our adventurers, our party, are all here in Avertan, in one way or another, for differing reasons, to become hunters. Now, I should stress that the party, there's 6 players, and they were all divided into 3 groups of 2, and I had a solo session with each group already, about 2 hours each, that kind of introduced their characters to the world and brought them all to Avertan to get them into one place, and kind of dealt with their backstory a bit, and laid down some plot lines for them. Now, these sessions have been recorded, however, I will not be uploading them for quite some time, as there is a lot of information that took place in these private sessions that I don't want the other players knowing about yet. And likewise, I'm not sure I want you as viewers to know about them yet. One day, I will release those sessions so that you have a full story, but that'll be after there is no chance that anything could be spoiled for my players, as I want their playthrough of the game to be untainted, if that makes sense. So, when we start the session in a few minutes, it will be a little confusing because people will be talking about past events, especially later in the session where the players start piecing things together that took place during their solo sessions. It will be slightly confusing, but bear with it. You'll catch on, and trust me, it was confusing to them too. Session 1 turned out to be a massive info dump that I did not intend as a DM, but that's the beauty of playing these kind of things, that even my players requested I make an MP3 after the session so they could re-listen to it and re-go over everything. So, like I said, the first session is beautiful, full of information, and really fun. I hope you guys enjoy it. I have rambled on far longer than I thought I would, and I think it's time to just jump right into the session. So, without any further ado, I give you guys Session 1 of Ardenfell, Winter's Candle. Welcome, everyone. How are you?
That's at us.
Are you asking us or the audience?
Yes. No, you guys. There's no point. They're not going to answer. They're not even here right now.
Live.
I still thought you were doing like some weird, like I know, like a
He's like
intro.
He's sitting in front of the fireplace, like with a book open, like, oh, I didn't see you there.
Oh my god! Like when we used to do fan fiction readings for Vegeta, like Shades of Grey.
I fucking forgot about that.
Hello, everyone.
We're good. We're good.
Good.
I'm good. I can't speak for everyone else. That was rude of me.
Welcome back to Ardenfell, guys.
Yay!
Holy shit.
For some of you,
We're
it's
back.
for the first time. Others of you,
We're
it's
back
the
and
third.
we're pissed.
No!
I am going to I'm going to jump right into things because unless
we're cold.
Yeah. One of you is. I'm going to jump right into things because unless I've had a minor stroke, there should be a huge intro already having been gone through. And we're going to start early in the morning on October 1st. Oh, I should probably point out, I'm not using fake months because it doesn't work. No one likes it. Like, everyone thinks they like it, but then you actually try and use it, and then you're like, fuck, wait, what month was that?
Can you mispronounce it like October?
October.
It's like
October.
it's like how when you're dealing with Roman gods, you always translate it to the Greek god.
Right? Yeah, Jupiter's just Zeus. Everyone knows it. Just deal with it. We can call it October.
Ew.
No, because that sounds like Octodad.
Oh god, all right.
You
But anyway,
nasty.
this session we're starting early morning, around 5:30 a.m. October 1st, in Avertan. Let me go ahead and pull up Avertan. So, first things first. The other players, I'd like you to consider. You don't have to answer yet, but consider if your character is an early riser, how early they would get up, and what their morning ritual would be. But before you answer, I'm gonna go over to the courtyard in front of the palace. Kai,
Yay.
how's it going?
Good. Just waiting for this,
You've been standing out there for a long time.
Yeah. Well, I figure, okay, so I read, I don't know if this is true, it said elves can do trance.
Yes, so
Which-
elves don't really sleep. They do a Legolas thing. They enter a trance-like state.
So I imagine like Kai at one point would just if she wasn't being bothered by guards or anything, she'd just sit down and just start meditating, but still saving her seat front and center.
So I have to remember that most of the viewers haven't seen your intro sessions yet, so I should probably point this out. It's for the other players as well. All of you are in the Mundane Inn, except for Kai, who decided to go wait outside the palace balcony for the announcement the next day, at 9 o'clock at night.
Yep.
So you've been standing out there all night. There have been guards that have marched back and forth, probably once every 15 minutes. They give you an eye, but they don't hinder you or stop you, as technically you are on public ground. You are, if you look at Avertan, you have been spending the night near the pond of water. So in front of the palace, above the beautiful gates, is a huge balcony. And it overlooks this plaza that has, the trees are cleared, the grass is beautiful, there is a crystal clear pond with a statue. Actually, Kai, roll me a history check.
Yes. History is my forte. Let's see if it shows. Not today. Wait, did it not roll?
Yeah, first roll of the campaign. No, you got to roll it in the chat, remember?
Oh shit, okay. I'm sorry, I'm using a touchpad. Give me a second.
There we
Oh,
go.
well. There you go.
Of a man with a goatee. He looks handsome. He looks maybe in his 30s. He looks very physically fit. But you also don't have a clue who it is.
She takes note of his chiseled ass cheeks.
He's wearing clothes. This isn't David.
And
I could be okay, my bad.
There's Greco-Roman statues everywhere.
Sitting on a toilet. No.
But you spend most of the night by this crystal clear pond, and
Can I ask a question? Am I near the palace or am I near the bridge going up? Can I get closer, on the northern end of the?
Yes, you can, but not much closer than that.
Okay. Yeah, she'd be front and center.
Front and
so
center.
as long as she's as close
Gotcha.
as she can get without being a nuisance.
You're even in your more tribal wear, orc tribal wear. You're very comfortable, even though it gets into the 50-degree mark at night. For you, that's a nice
nothing.
summer breeze.
Yeah, that's pretty good.
And you've been sitting there, and right now you see the sun peeking over the horizon, actually coming up over the top of the palace. It's kind of pretty and kind of blinding. Back at the Mundane Inn, the rest of you, who's an early riser? Who would probably be getting up first?
Oh, we're that group. Cool.
As no one, right?
Alright.
All right, then it's going to be Arthur.
Gotcha.
Oh boy.
Doesn't have to
He-
be.
Well, I was planning on letting you guys say if you were going to first.
So,
Because, roofers, I want to mute myself more often. Arthur will be rising at about 7 in the morning.
Gotcha. Hang on, I'm trying to see. I can't see Arthur's character sheet, of course not. Describe yourself for us.
Arthur is about 5'6", kind of fair skin, kind of tanned, has 5 really large gashes across his back, has really long black hair, light, almost shimmering brown eyes, and only wears pants. No shoes, no shirt, nothing.
Like
Usually
MC
wears
Hammer
his hair
pants,
up in
by
a
the way.
ponytail. Yes, MC Hammer, like light, like genie pants.
Yes, genie pants is
Basically.
a good way to describe it.
Yeah. He also has a tattoo on his right shoulder, which is basically, it looks like a dragon without wings. And he is currently sitting at one of the tables, writing in a journal.
First thing I should
in
note.
obscure language.
First thing I should note. You are freezing.
Hmm?
It's like 50 degrees
Yeah.
outside.
I thought you said it was 70 last time.
It was
Jesus.
70 during
Yeah.
the day, but it's
Yeah.
dawn.
7 in the morning. Okay, yeah, cool. Yeah, he's shivering.
I should also, because I
in
forgot.
in that case, he would probably be sitting there with a blanket on.
Gotcha. All
'Cause
right.
he's used to the tropical climates.
I will jump back to you in a second, but I realize I forgot. Kai, real quick, as you stand out there in the courtyard, tell us about your character. What does she look like?
I was gonna be like, oh, I guess we don't need to know.
No,
about
I
Kai.
just
No,
completely forgot.
I'm kidding. Well, she would stick out. She right now is currently wearing a mask that's like it's made out of wood. And it's inspired by the animal, the owl, the bird. She's 6'2", so she's kind of tall. And yeah, she's wearing orcish tribal looking gear. Like it's definitely not what you would expect anyone really in the area to be wearing, or in or a dark elf specifically to be. It's not. It looks odd, but she wears it well, I would say.
Right. Okay. And your hair. Your hair is long and braided?
Partially, yeah. It's long. She keeps it kind of swooped over to one side. She's pretty cute. She's a pretty cute girl, but she's wearing the mask, so it's kind of obfuscated.
Right.
I think I made up a word.
Gotcha. All right.
It's
Gonna
a
jump.
word, but you're thinking of obscured.
Thank you.
I'm
Thank
gonna jump back to Arthur real quick. Arthur, when you're down and when you sit in the chair, and as you're kind of huddling in the chair, this drow elf, which you met briefly the night before, in a barmaiden dress, by the name of Syra, comes in and starts moving chairs around and getting things ready, and then she sees you there and she goes, oh, you're up early.
Hi. What language is this, by the way?
This would be common.
Fuck. Okay. He's just gonna say, hi.
Oh, my dear, you're
you
shivering.
Mm,
And she like tisks and she goes, here, let me get a fire started. Breakfast won't be ready for a while, I'm afraid, but here. And she starts like putting wood in the fireplace near one of the tables where you're sitting. And very quickly she runs and she gets like a little flint and she starts making a fire for you.
He will be happy at this.
Anyone else getting up, coming downstairs, or have other rituals when you get up? Who's next?
Yeah, Ashu's probably going to be getting up. Ashu would get up and almost immediately go to any sort of shower, bath, whatever it may be.
Sure. So the Mundane Inn they don't have baths in individual rooms. What they have is a communal bath. Now, it is a private bath in the sense that you take turns, but it is a communal bathroom. And seeing as you're one of the first up, and Arthur didn't seem to need it or use it or think of it yet, or probably know that it exists.
Yeah, something like that.
You enter it in the chill morning air, and find that there's already a steaming barrel of water ready to be tipped over into the tub, which, Ashu, you're well versed in how inns usually work, so this is all second nature to you.
Well, should be doing that business, I suppose.
Describe your character for me.
Ashu is lanky but very firm in her stature. Definitely old and almost regal in her look. She has kind of a very pale complexion, a white hair, red eyes and horn with a tail.
Very tiefling.
Which may or may not resemble some sort of daemon.
Yes. As you're well aware, tieflings are very heavily ridiculed and biased against in Ardenfell, given the demon wars that happened 75 years ago. But you make the best of it, don't you?
Do I ever?
Okay, so you get up and you start taking a bath. What about the other three?
Too early, still asleep.
Got you.
Yeah, Dolna's gonna be passed out for a bit.
Gotcha. What about Orit?
Probably going to wake up at like 9:30.
Okay, so the bath goes off well. Arthur, you sit by the fire. It takes about an hour or so, and Syra will come and bring you a hot plate of like flapjacks, like home griddle made cakes. And honestly, it's actually quite a fine meal. Hot flapjacks, butter on top, slices of bacon, and she'll bring it to you.
This would be the first time Arthur is eating anything like this.
Right.
Yeah, so this would be a really weird thing for him.
She'll sit it down in front of you and she'll say, will your friend be joining you?
He's just gonna shrug.
Right, well, if you need anything, I'll be at the bar. And this will go on your tab in the room, so don't worry about it now. She says very quickly.
He's going to stare straight ahead, trying to process what she's fucking saying. Oh, what an idiot.
She's already skipped off.
Probably like 5 minutes later, he'll understand.
Gotcha.
I'm not even joking.
Do you try the food?
Yes.
How does Arthur find it?
He finds it strange texturally because his meal of choice is usually like vegetables, fruits, and things like that, or meat.
Right.
He doesn't have flapjacks. Not even at the temple there's something like this. So it's strange and overly sweet.
Gotcha.
So it's a strange meal to him.
Understood. Ashu, after your bath, I assume you would go downstairs?
Yes.
Okay. You'd come downstairs, fully bathed and rested, and you would find your new companion eating flapjacks and looking like he's not sure about it.
She closes her eyes and, in almost a deep thought, opens them and walks forward, hesitates for a little bit, and then sits down next to, her companion and friend.
And bodyguard, apparently.
Yeah, he'll start speaking in Elvin. Good morning. How's it going?
It went very well. I didn't even get harassed once this morning.
Oh, right, that's still a thing. Sorry.
It happens in this territory, but my goodness. It is nice to just wake up and have a nice warm bath.
Speaking of warm, how fucking cold does it get up here?
Not that cold.
What do you mean not that cold? I was shivering this morning. I had to come out
you
here in my
live
blanket.
There. I guess in comparison, it does get pretty cold. It gets around this cold and maybe a bit colder later.
Colder?
It's with the season.
Seasons?
Yes.
What is this? What kind of magic is this?
Well, let's just say if you're going to go any farther north, you will probably need, looks at this man, a different attire. A coat?
Oh, I'm gonna have to wear a shirt, aren't I? I don't like shirts.
The
I
fangirls
noticed.
cried.
Flicks his hair as he says
They
it.
feel so restrictive.
Well, maybe we can find one that's looser?
Ashu, you would hear from across the tavern. Oh, good morning. Did you want some breakfast as well?
Hesitates, looks at Arthur's banquet. How big is his meal?
It's a decent portion for one person. 2 people could probably share it if they eat a light meal.
She probably is going to be pretty light on the meal. She is a thin lady.
Understandable.
You want to just eat off my plate?
Yes. I like to not spend too much.
Spend? What do you mean
yes.
spend?
She ruffles her bag, puts down a gold. These money. I'm assuming you have some.
Oh yeah, I got a bunch from my my mentor, and a bit from my mom. That's how I got this book. I mean, how much do you think this would be? I don't really deal with this kind of stuff, anyways. I mean,
Right.
stuff is just given to me at the temple, so.
You probably still have a pretty good time, at least until you're out of this town, and you might need to maybe think a little bit more on how funds work. But
Alright.
I can help you out, I suppose. I've never really budgeted someone else before.
Sure.
How about if I do that in exchange for a little bit of your meal?
Yeah, sure. And he's going to take out his coin purse and plop it on the table. It's got about 400 gold in there.
This will take a while.
Yeah.
We'll skip ahead a couple of hours as you guys share a meal and Ashuf explains the finer points of gold. Kai, you're still standing there. Things are starting to pick up a little bit. Custodians seem to be going about cleaning the place, even though, as far as you can tell, it's not dirty to begin with, but they're sweeping and raking the grass and combing out the spring.
She'll help them.
They actually are fairly grateful for the help.
Yeah, I mean, yeah, she comes from a tribe where everyone kind of works together, so it would make sense that she'd be like, "Oh, this is the morning ritual," and just like start helping out.
You get some strange looks, but no one turns you away, and you're able to help. And we'll say after a couple of hours, Dolma and Ty will say it's around 9 in the morning.
Probably a little later.
Yeah.
Okay. When would your character wake up?
Naturally, probably like 11 or 12, but if there's like a specific deadline, then I'm just imagining like last minute Dolma's just like, Ty, we have to get up.
Are we role playing this now, or is this an
Yeah, I guess
example?
so.
I mean, sure, either way, that's pretty much how she does it.
You know that
I think it'll still probably be after a read, is what I'm guessing.
Gotcha. Orit.
East.
So you get up. What's your morning ritual?
Tries to roll over and go back to sleep. But then he has a sudden realization. He's forgetting something important. Oh, wait, he has to meet up with Kai later. That's right.
Describe your character for me.
He is 5'8". He is a drow. Very messy, tangled up hair. Very poof. Wearing orc tribal-ish gear, I suppose. Very basic clothing.
Mm-hmm.
Golden yellow eyes. Lots of freckles. And in a rush to get changed.
Got you. You get changed. And you kind of rush downstairs, and you see a pale tiefling and a human male. At least you're fairly sure he's human. He's not wearing a shirt. He's got tattoos. Sitting at a table discussing.
Huge ass scar across his back.
Yes. What looks like a giant slash from probably from a creature at least as big as some of the ones you used to keep back at home. They're talking to themselves quietly at the table, and as you come down, and Ashu and Day and Arthur, at some point, Darian would have come out in the morning and would have started cleaning up behind the bar. And as you come down, he'll stand up and go, "Ah, young Master Drow, good morning to you."
Why'd you call me master?
Oh, it's simply a courtesy in these parts.
Oh, good morning, master.
I will work on it, lad.
Takes mental note. Walks up to the counter to talk to Darian. He's like, what's all that on the table?
Looks at the table. What are you referring to?
The gigantic feast that is just on, like, the communal breakfast table.
Right. He'll say, "Aye, lad, will that be breakfast? Whenever we be having guests, we ensure that they've got some nice warm flapjacks and butter and bacon to wake up to."
What's a flapjack? Never mind. Actually, I was kind of hoping to talk to you before, leaving.
Oh? Aye?
Though, I guess, privately?
Oh, of course, lad. And he'll motion you back into a back room. Arthur and Ashu, you see them head to a back room and close the door. What's on your mind, lad?
Oh, okay. So, want to say right off the bat that I'm sorry I didn't say anything earlier. It's been a long trip. Give or take. So, Norith, the lady who we traveled with,
Aye?
she wanted us to let you know that, she has, passed away.
I'm sorry, come again.
She has passed on.
Oi. Lad, don't you be thinking this is something you should have been telling me sooner?
Yes. But like I said, I was really tired. Hard
Hey.
to think straight after everything.
His face just kind of falters, and he goes, Oi. I do be seeming to lose a lot of friends these days. Did you suffer?
Oh, no. She said that she passed on in the company of friends.
Oi.
It's her exact words. Had a smile on her face the whole time.
If you don't mind me asking, lad, how'd she die?
Well, given her condition, she decided to end it on her own terms.
The wasting, you mean?
Yes.
You know, it's
And
terrible business, that stuff.
yeah, she decided to see how long she could fly. Let's put it that way.
Why, that do sound like her. Well, thank you for telling me, lad. Bit late though it may be.
Yeah, like I said, it's been a long trip.
Aye, well,
I just wanted to collapse.
he nods, and he still looks very, kind of distant. Aye, well, go get you some breakfast, lad.
Sorry to, start your day off like this.
Oh, it's not the first bad news I've been getting lately, lad. I'll manage. Get yourself some breakfast.
Do I have to pay for it?
Aye.
Okay, just good knowing.
Like, he looks at you like, yeah.
I know I just told you your friend died, but can I get a free meal?
He doesn't know. It's like, do people just lay these things out? Do we have to pay for it? Or is this just
Well,
a customary
it could be a bed and breakfast. This is true.
Right.
He doesn't know. So he'll just go back, sit on one of the chairs and the table,
Yeah, you'll see
and then dissect how the flapjacks are done.
Ashu and Arthur. You'll see them come back out of the room. And how close or far away do you sit from them or eat?
Like maybe 2 seats down.
Gotcha. You're by the way,
that respectable distance of new people.
right. And the three of you are the only ones sitting in the common room at the moment.
Yeah.
So you begin enjoying your breakfast. So to move things on a little bit, let's go ahead and go to Dolma and Tyburn. You know that the grand speech is supposed to be later in the morning, say around 11 or so.
Mm-hmm.
Of course, this is Ardenfell, not New York, so exact time is not really a thing here.
Island time.
Exactly.
About an island.
Mm-hmm.
Yeah, I was thinking 10:30 is probably when they would get up.
Yeah, probably.
Gotcha. So, describe your characters for me.
You can go first, Elora.
Okay. So Dolma is 6'1". She's she has fairly dark, kind of purplish blue skin, stark white hair that is very, very long with the sides shaved down. So it's essentially a really long mohawk.
Mm-hmm.
And she has bright gold eyes and a whole bunch of gold piercings in her nose, her lip, all over her ears. And she's got a couple of scars as well. There's a crescent one around her right eye, and another one that just kind of clips down the side of her cheek.
Gotcha.
Mhm.
What about Tyburn?
So Emery Tyburn is human. in
Mhm.
comparison to the rest of this party.
I know.
She
What a
has
weirdo.
like, I know, right? She has like long, like orange hair with like a weird braid on the side that doesn't have all the hair in it, weirdly enough. And then it is wearing like kind of like a short sleeve shirt and like a waistcoat vest with a jacket and like almost like one of those Viking belts with like boots, and then a bandana around her neck that could easily be pulled up to cover her face. Has very dark like eyeliner, don't question it, with gray eyes, and also has a scar over her left eye this time. And she's always carrying a shovel.
Yes. Always with a shovel. Do you carry it
Also
like
pregnant.
on your back, like it juts up over one shoulder, or is it like straight up and down?
As much as I want to do video game rolls,
Yeah.
it floats behind your back like it's Dragon Age Origins, and if you're at the right angle, you can see there's nothing in between. She probably is just straight up carrying it.
Gotcha. So you guys get up, you know you don't have much time. What's your morning ritual like?
Flop.
Gentle splash of water on the face. Just kind of like, all right, let's go.
Yep.
The temperature obviously is very brisk, but it's not that different from where you two were coming from, so you were
No.
definitely expecting this.
I've been prepared. I am not cool.
You make your way downstairs, and you see, of course, Ashu and Arthur sitting at one table, Orit sitting at another. Orit, we'll say that you've had time to finish your breakfast
And steal some.
and steal some. Have you ever had flapjacks? I gotta imagine that the
He
drow would
would've,
make.
like, watched probably the other two see what they did first, because his first instinct was just grab it.
So
What?
I imagine it would be somewhat similar but different in the sense that you know the drow probably make some form of grain cakes or things like that, and you certainly have butter, but it's not butter from cows. There aren't cows up in the tundra. You'd make butter from more exotic animals, so it would be familiar and yet different all at the same time.
He just watches others eat a little bit first and like, okay, so that's what you do.
Right. We'll say that you've had plenty of time to finish, all of you, and you see Dolma and Tyburn kind of bumbling down the stairs. Are you guys fully awake, or are you still kind of...
No.
You haven't
Oh,
had your
hell
coffee
no.
yet?
Yeah, like Dolma's hair is like completely loose and just all over the place. She's kind of like running her hand through it, just like, okay, we can work on this on the way there. It's fine. And this is like a metric crap ton of hair. It goes down to like the small of her back.
Yeah, okay. What about Tyburn? You still same? Like you're half dead right
Tyburn?
now.
Yeah, Tyburn is gonna go straight to the bar, put her like shovel like leaning against the thing, and just flop down with like head on arms, probably back asleep.
More than less.
Thumbs up.
Dolma sits next to her, just
You
head in hand, eyes closed.
ladies having a late night.
Yeah.
Aye. Well, I'm glad you're up. There do be some breakfast, though it be a bit cold by now. And he'll motion over to the table where, the pancakes are room temperature. The bacon's cold.
Cold breakfast beats no breakfast, and Dolma, after a moment, will heft herself off of the bar and go grab 2 plates for her and Ty.
Aye. While you be doing that, I was wondering if I might be having a word with all of you, since you're all up now. And he'll look at Orit. Pity your friend's not here. Never saw her come back.
She's probably fine.
Oh, wait a second. No, he doesn't know. Hang on a second. He doesn't know she snuck out. He would actually say, Do you think your friend will be joining us?
Thinks about what to say in situation. So, like 3 seconds later, goes, she'll probably be just catching up with us.
Aye, fair enough. But, if I could, all of you, come to the bar, gather around, I suppose.
Tyburn looks up but does not raise head.
Solma kind of raises a brow, looks around, and then brings the plates over, kind of questioning everyone else.
Shu definitely tidies up, but takes special notice of what Arthur's doing, and specifically with his book.
It's in a kind of scribbly language. You can't read Draconic, right?
That's correct.
Yeah, no. What you can tell is there is a date at the top, and then a whole bunch of scribbling, then another entry of a date, and a whole bunch of scribbling.
So I guess just for the GM and you to know, she's looking at the condition of the book.
Oh, the book is brand fucking new.
Yeah.
Like, it's almost if he got it right before he left Windfall Isle.
And you can also tell, like, when he pulls it out and puts it up and all that, it's well cared for. He doesn't just, like, fling it in there.
Yeah.
Yeah, she's basically, like, since there was food next to book, she got...
You're hitting her trigger points, man.
Oh. Well, I mean, it'll be fine. His mom will take it no matter what. It's fine.
Do you guys make your way to the bar, or do you stay where you are?
Yes.
Yeah, I'll go to the bar.
Shu does. Make sure that all the coins are back in place and so on and so forth.
Yeah, Arthur grabs his coins. By the way, for the rest of you, there was roughly 400 gold coins on the table being counted.
Yeah, just being counted one at a
Just
time.
sitting there.
Darian would kind of cross his arms and lean back and be, now I know you don't know me. Blah. Now I know you don't be knowing each other, but you do be the only people I've had come so far. You all been coming for your own purposes, I'll not pry, but I know you all be coming for the hunt. Seems to me like it mightn't be wise to work together, at least for times being. I know there'll be hundreds of hunters out there. You trying to be doing this on your own, well, I doubt you'll be getting very far. Besides, and he'll look at Tyburn and Dolma, that thing you've got mightn't be needing help with it, aye?
Oh, yeah.
Yeah, Dolma raises a brow at that.
There takes a couple seconds where Tyburn just like, oh yeah, that thing, and then just kind of flops down again.
It's your call, obviously, but... He shrugs. Truth of the matter be, I've lost more than one friend and received a bit of bad news lately. And honest, this inn could use the business. If you be here for the hunt, I'd be willing to give you discounts on your rooms and free meals as long as you be here. And if you are being here, well... He shrugs. Like my mom always said, a group do be getting things faster than someone alone.
Not wrong.
Dolma leans an elbow against the counter and looks at Darian and goes, "And these are friends of yours?"
Well, some of you I be knowing. Others were friends of a good friend of mine. Either way, I could vouch.
Okay. Okay, I just want to know really quickly.
Mhm.
Is this entire conversation in common?
common?
It's all in common, my friend.
Son of...
You're in the land of common.
Oh, sweet boy.
So he's kind of just... Arthur's just standing there trying to understand everything.
How much confusion is just plastered over his face?
A lot.
Does he have like one of those like wide smiles and like he's like looking around at the people who are talking?
Yes, exactly.
I love it. I love it.
Let me see if I can. Like, this is a fairly serious situation. She might not notice. Let's see if she notices or not.
Yeah.
Insight,
Mm-hmm.
perception.
For that, it would be insight, probably.
Yes, definitely.
Alright.
What are you trying to notice exactly?
How if he's like basically the attention drawn away from the main conversation and see that Arthur's confused.
Oh, yeah. So here's something I'm going to do as well. If you guys are not in a pressing situation, i.e. combat or a timed issue or something that would be distracting or pressing, when it comes to insight or perception, you can never roll lower than your passive. Make sense?
Yeah.
If you're in a fight, if you're distracted, if things are tense, you're going to roll because obviously you're distracted. But if you're just sitting here, your passive insight, which is basically your for you would be 14, you can never roll lower than that. Because it in my sense it doesn't make sense if insight is something that you do naturally, just like perception. If your passive perception is just what you see around you every second of every day, how could you roll lower than that unless you are somehow distracted? So you rolled a 10, but really if you guys roll and you roll lower than your passive of whatever that is, I will just raise it to your passive. And you certainly can tell Arthur is having trouble understanding.
Yeah.
He's having a time.
I think Ishu semi-quickly catches on and then starts basically translating to Arthur in Elvish.
Fantastic.
Gotcha. Tyburn, did you not have something to...
I was going to ask as a player where you check that on the Roll20 sheet, but I found it.
Oh, I
like
see.
what's
I see.
a passive thing?
Perfect.
I knew where it was on Roll20.
So,
I didn't know where it was in Fantasygram.
Since all it has is your passive perception, it doesn't show you like passive insight. Your passive insight would just be whatever your bonus to it plus 10. Does that make sense?
Yes.
So for example,
10.
So 10.
Yeah.
Oops, Ty's lowest score is wisdom.
And Darian says, "If I mightn't be some bold, I don't believe in fight, but I do believe in fortunate coincidence. You did be mentioning something about needing to see the Lady Selene, aye?"
Arthur's gonna
Oh.
pipe up in Draconic.
Sorry, he was referring to Tyburn and Dulma. I should have made that clear.
I think Arthur probably.
Yeah, no, I agree. I'm just making sure you're aware. I'm not saying that you wouldn't pipe up. I think you absolutely would, but just letting you know.
So Arthur will pipe up in Draconic. You guys will hear him speak incredibly fast. The analogy that I used in the solo session was, you know how South American football announcers speak that fast? That's how fast he speaks in Draconic. And he's going to say really quickly, I personally just wanted to go and see my brother, who is over at the palace. I didn't really need to see my aunt, but that's fine. I would be okay with that.
He holds up a hand, and in Draconic says back, "Oi, slow down a bit, lad." And do you kind of repeat it a little bit more slowly?
Yeah.
Okay.
Almost condescendingly slow.
Yeah. He'll nod. He'll go, I was speaking to the ladies, but they have a need, and you might be able to help. He says this in Draconic. Also,
Yeah.
I did not be knowing that you were related to the great lady.
And he's gonna do that wishy-washy hand sign.
When's the last time you saw Selene?
Fucking 30 years ago.
Yeah, like when you were a toddler.
Yeah.
Still. But he'll say that in Draconic. And he'll look back to Tyburn and Dulma. Anyways, as my friend here be saying, he do be knowing the people you be needing to see.
Not personally, but I'm sure it can't be that hard, right?
Actually, he did be telling me she's his aunt.
Oh, that is very convenient.
Incredibly so.
Aye.
He's
Like
just
even
gonna give a
he
thumbs up.
even he's looking like this is really convenient.
Yeah.
Tybern has set up straight and is just now smiling at Arthur with like shit-eating grin. This is a
Ashu
face
looks-
of a thief.
Ashu looks just aggravated and kind of staring off into the middle distance in just a very, like, yeah.
Why is she mad? What did he do this time?
Insight check. Go.
Oh, she's not directing this at anybody.
Okay.
But yeah, I guess we need to go talk to Selene sooner rather than later.
Honestly, I was expecting there to be an entire song and dance about it.
I mean, how long does that take? 10 minutes?
Dulma rolls her eyes. She looks at Tyburn.
Tyburn's proud of herself.
Aye, well, you'd be wanting to hurry. The speech is soon to be any time now.
What time is it?
Okay.
Late morning.
Dulma just like starts fucking wolfing down food, just like, okay, gotta go.
Yeah.
Here. And Arthur will stop you. Or try to stop you. And offer out a apple seed, which will grow and form into an apple with a pink exterior.
She like freezes mid-bite into a pancake and then just like stares and goes,
Eat.
Dulma, roll me an Arcana check. Tyburn, you as well.
oh boy, that +1.
I know.
Hell
That's
yeah!
weird. That's
Hey!
rude.
Hey.
Nice.
No.
Tyburn.
Tyburn's insulted as a farmer.
Yeah. Tyburn, it's obviously magic. that's what you know. Dulma, you've never seen... obviously, it's magic, but no verbal components, no somatic gestures, no nothing. That's not usual.
Yeah, she looks at it, just like chews slowly and kind of squints between the apple and him, and then finally she swallows the mouthful and goes, "You some kind of druid or something?"
He's gonna try and speak in Elven. A lot of people keep telling me that, but no.
Is it like
Specifically,
fluent Elven or?
Yeah, it's
Yeah.
fluent Elven, but it's Forest Elven.
Much better than his common.
Yes, extremely better.
and it's
Yeah.
well, so here's the deal. High elves and wood elves speak the same language. Different dialects, like different accents, but it's like Americans and people in Britain. They understand each other just fine for the most part. Drow, though you haven't run across too many, except the one sitting next to you right now and the one that served you earlier. They have been so separated that their dialect is so extensive that it's like a different language.
Huh. Interesting.
So Tiber responds in Elven. It's like, oh, so you. Wait, what did he say again?
That's what
A
people
lot of
keep
people
telling me.
Yeah, that's what people keep telling me, but no.
That's. So, like, where do you even get something like that?
He's gonna whip around and point at her. You can speak Elven?
Dolma also speaks in
Common!
Elven.
By the way, Orit, they're speaking. Like, that's not Drow. Or if it is, it's so bastardized they don't know how to speak it. But man, it sounds familiar. It's like someone speaking Middle
Spanish
English
to
in front of
French?
you. Yeah, exactly.
Oh, that direction.
Yeah.
Yeah, so it's different Romance languages, not
Like exactly.
Middle English versus modern English. Okay.
Right. So like Orit, you'll catch words like, was that you speak? I don't know.
He's trying to follow the conversation, but at the same time, he's like, I really gotta, go. And he's just kind of standing by the door waiting, because he's assuming he has to go with these people to the same place.
Oh my
Kind
god.
of waiting for everything to, happen.
Poor Orit, the bartender just suggested, and now Orit's like, well, I guess I have to go with these people.
Agree
And everybody
to
starts
anything.
speaking different languages.
He didn't agree to any of this. But I guess he is now. But he's still has to get going. He is honestly, there's gonna be 10 minutes, and if they're still not out the door by 10 minutes, he's leaving.
This is what he has assured himself. Yes, so Arthur pointed back to you and said, you speak Elven?
Why the hell have we been speaking Common?
Because
That's
common.
what most.
Really?
No, this is cat. Yeah, I grew up in a place where there was merchants. We had to speak to the merchants, so
How do you understand it? So many words that sound the same, but have different meanings.
I ain't no teacher.
I don't understand.
Tyburn is gonna notice Orit standing there awkwardly, and it's just like, oh shit, we should go. And it's just kind of be standing up and doing that thing where it's like kind of awkwardly walking away, but still facing Arthur the entire time.
Yeah,
And he's still going to try and get Dolma to eat the apple.
Dolma will take the apple, put an arm around his shoulder and kind of slowly lead him towards the door, just we'll work on that.
Contest!
Do you
Combine!
mean context?
Combine! Yes! I do! Or I don't! I don't know! Converse! What?
It's contact.
That's a shoe.
Don't worry about it.
Gesundheit.
What's a shoe doing during all this?
She's patiently following along.
I got you. So you guys make your way out of the mundane inn.
Hold on. Arthur's going to stop because he was so engrossed in the conversation. He's going to run back in, grab his journal, and run back out.
Gotcha. It's slightly colder outside now that you're not next to a warm fire.
Oh, God.
And you guys make your way down the streets across the bridge, and once you cross the bridge, it's almost like crossing into another town. You cross into the more ritzy part of Avertan. You actually pass through the markets, which is where people normally buy their produce and meat and food and things of that nature. Make your way through the richer parts of town where you see more trees and greener grass and actual paved roads instead of dirt roads. And as you approach the palace, you see more and more people on all sides of you as they all seem to be gravitating towards the palace. You get to a ramp built from stone that climbs the 30-foot cliff that takes up the upper part of the city, where you can see, and a shoe, definitely you would know this, the upper part of the city holds the palace and all of the embassies for the other races, the Magic Academy, and a noble house, the House Fortuve, which is a very prominent city in the family in the city. And as you guys make your way up the bridge into the upper part of Avertan, you see a beautiful spring with a statue. I'd like everyone who would like to roll me a history check.
Also, while we're doing this, as they were getting to more richer areas, Tybern started to kind of fidget with like fingerless gloves, like making sure it's covering the entire back of her hand.
Gotcha. Okay. Dolma and Arthur, I was going to say surprisingly, but maybe not surprisingly, you recognize the statue. That is Theoden, one-time
Oh shit!
lover of Lady Selene, and also one-time Lich King, who, according to legend, redeemed himself during the Demon Wars.
And did have a nice butt, if I remember. Was Finn.
Well, you spent all night staring at it, so...
According
that
to
was
Finn,
Finn.
yes.
That was according to
Oh,
Finn.
right, according to Finn.
You spent all night staring at it. So sure.
I mean, she's curious. She'd probably stare at it for a good period of time.
I mean, but there's a statue right there, and you see the butt. Eventually, you're gonna look at the butt.
Yeah, I think that's fine.
So you both recognize that.
Hold on. I wanna ask.
Mhm.
Is this one of those statues, just like in Greece and stuff, where people touch the statue, so the entire statue is like kind of brown, but his butt cheeks are bronze?
No,
I know, I'm
because
Everyone's slapping it
you-
as they walk by.
you would have to swim to get to it, and palace guards would
Okay.
probably stop you.
Okay, fair enough.
This is not a public pool.
It'd be funny though.
It would be. But you probably recognize it from stories from your dad, actually.
Oh yeah, definitely.
And Dolma, I mean, come on, you've heard the stories and the legends.
Mm-hmm.
Those of you, though, the others you don't. Ashu, actually, Ashu, do you have any books that would help you on that?
Oh my goodness. So
I forgot what you bought.
generally me too. I used to have a note thing and I didn't save it in time.
Give me a second. I will
but
find it.
I think I got it at this point. Let's see.
Oh,
I
you
straight
have
up
you have
forgot to buy books.
you have a guide to Avertan. Roll with advantage.
Oh, cool.
I
Oh
forgot
wait,
we could buy books.
you also have Lady Selene and the Lich King.
Yeah. So I don't think I need to roll Squeeze.
I don't think you need to roll either,
I
Piff.
think I know exactly. How
I
firm
think
his
you
butt
know.
is.
There's a whole chapter on it.
You,
Good.
sir, ma'am, do not need to roll for shit. You know exactly who that was. All right, so you guys make your way up and into the courtyard, and you see that there are now hundreds of people gathered here. There are. Hang on one second here. Pardon me, one moment.
Did you find a good butt?
No,
The
I
light
just,
is showing.
I didn't copy over a very important part of my notes.
That danger must be growing.
Oh God. Give me one
Not a
second.
speck of light is showing.
Where is that from? Oh, Willy Wonka.
Yeah.
Yes,
Kind of
yes,
set it out
is.
of order.
I was thinking Princess Bride for some reason.
Oh, I mean, that's close enough.
Is it?
Yeah.
No.
Yeah, no. Basically the same movie.
Also, I've been trying to find this picture of a statue I took. A picture I took of a statue in France for the longest time because I took it 100% because of the
Ooh.
butt.
That butt is just buttalicious.
Because the way we were
Damn.
walking down the street, it was towards the back of him, so we're just walking up the long street, and all I see is his butt the entire time, and I'm like 17. It's funny.
Does he have goats on his head?
It's a crown.
A goat crown.
I have no idea what that statue is. It's been too long.
Look, there's another butt on the lampposts.
Jesus,
There no
though.
butt.
Talk about chiseled.
Yeah.
Okay,
Bazinga.
I'm back.
Sorry. Welcome back. All right. Mhm.
Question, really
Yes,
quickly.
yes.
Did Dolma actually eat the apple?
No, she pocketed that.
Oh, okay.
Dolma,
Sus.
if and when you eat it, let me know. I will need to describe it to you. Well, actually, I
No,
think I think Arthur.
I
will
will need to
yeah,
describe it
yeah.
to you.
Yeah, I just realized.
'Cause
Wait, I don't
that's-
fucking know.
That's a different color from the last
Right.
time.
Anyway, you guys find yourselves, and Kai, this applies to you as well, except this was slowly becoming the case over time.
She is fighting for front and center.
Right. You're surrounded by hundreds of people of every type of race, and they are crowding the courtyard. Some are wearing full suits of armor, others are decked in loose-fitting clothes of silk and satin, look like nobles or rich people. Others still are hiding their faces behind masks and cowls. You even see a few dwarven golems that dot the crowd, some looking on silently while others are gesturing wildly in conversation. There is a morning dew that shines on the grass around everywhere, and as people mill around waiting for the speech or ceremony to start.
I'm
Get
not
a
gonna
good
lie.
view.
I'm gonna just try and go straight to the door until guards stop me.
Gotcha. So, you guys, the rest of you, you see Arthur just keep pushing his way through the crowd.
Tyburn just leans against her shovel and watches how this is gonna go. Huge smile.
Yep, Dolma's got an elbow on her shoulder.
Mhm.
She was... How closely attacked? No, she's gonna stand back with the others in the group. As much as she wants to follow this person for multiple different reasons, can't, not in this situation.
Yeah,
Well,
I understand.
bye.
Well, you start trying to push your way through the crowd, and you're trying to get your way around a particularly large orc who is covered in what look like tiger stripe tattoos. And as you're walking past him, you're trying to kind of shove past him, really. You hear him talking to another orc, talking about I heard we'll be hunting a man. That'll be nothing. Men are easy compared to hunting forest tigers. And as you kind of push past him, you feel the lower part of your body bump into something, and this gnomish girl with bright blonde hair and very pale skin, who is wearing just a plethora of pouches and packs and a backpack that's almost as big as she is, just sprawls onto the ground with a and she hits the ground, and you see all these little metallic devices kind of roll out from her pouches.
Oh no. He's going to stop and help her get up and gather her things. Profusely apologizing in common, which is probably gonna sound really bad.
You help her up, and she goes, "Oh, I'm so sorry. I didn't see you there. Oh no!" And she starts like picking up her devices, and that's probably okay. And she starts like pocketing it, and she looks at you. And she's like, I am so sorry. I didn't mean to. hit you.
No, I no see good.
Oh.
Sorry.
Oh, I have and she starts like poking around in her pockets and she pulls out like these very thick spectacles. She goes, I made these. They could maybe help. And she holds them out.
Arthur's going to pick them up and he has no idea what to do with these.
She like motions to put them around your ears, like you know, like someone would motion putting on glasses.
Okay. And he's gonna put them on.
Oh, buddy, you
How
can't
does
see
it-
crap. It is really bad. It's like someone took just really thick bottoms of bottles and put them in front of your eyes.
I don't see anything.
Oh my gosh, you're blind. I'm so sorry.
Oh no!
Here.
But maybe something else? And she starts like pointing around the packs.
No, thank you.
Are you
Sorry.
sure? I have so many.
No.
Oh,
No.
okay. And she just kind of looks down and kind of silently walks away.
Shit, man. You know exactly how to punch me in the heart, don't you? God damn it. Yeah. He's gonna try and continue on.
Yeah.
Being more careful this time.
Understood. The rest of you see, I mean, this all happened like 10 feet from you. And you see her wander off, and as he continues forward, you see this little gnomish girl start going to different people. Excuse me, sir? You look like the kind of man that could really use one of the... Oh, okay. Alright. Then, like, just move on. Kai?
Yes.
You have very proudly taken a spot at the front of the pack. In fact, perhaps maybe elbowed one or two that might have tried to take your place.
Only slightly.
Only slightly.
Only slightly.
Covertly. You are standing about 10 feet away from a line of guards in front of the palace doors. And you hear a small commotion. And next to you, kind of gently bursting through the crowd, a 5'6" tall human-looking person with no shirt is suddenly standing next to you.
Is he still moving, or is he just standing next to me now? I mean, she'd look down at him but not say anything.
Right? Well, I don't know.
He's gonna keep moving forward.
She'll watch if he's gonna go too close to the guard.
Yeah, he's gonna go straight up to the guards.
Well, one of the guards holds a hand out. They're in full armor with spears, and one holds out. Stay back, sir. No one allowed past this point.
He's fucking speaking common, isn't he?
Yep. You're in common.
I know.
land.
I know.
I know, but it's just so funny to keep saying it.
Yeah, exactly. I am Arthur. I am.
Sir, please step back. And one of them takes a step forward.
Can I talk Kip, please?
They look at each other. No. Step back.
Okay. I talk him later.
Yeah, sure. Whatever. He just like steps back.
He's gonna go back down right next to Kai and just stand there waiting until his brother comes out.
So Kai, you see this take place.
Yeah.
And you
She'll-
just- Mhm.
She'll kind of like take note. Like she kind of does like a little head tilt as she watches, the scene unfold. But she's focused more on. I mean, she's been waiting all night for this goddamn moment. Nothing's gonna ruin it for her.
Right.
So she's less. It's more of like she sees him. She takes a note in her head, like, okay, this guy's weird, but he might know stuff. And then continues waiting with her arms crossed.
Got you. Back there with the rest of the group, what are you guys doing? Arthur is gone. He's somewhere in the crowd.
Oh, we're judging him.
Well, I mean, if you're staying where you are, you're going to lose sight of him pretty quickly.
We can edge forward.
Gotcha.
I don't think we want to miss this show.
I had already walked forward at some point or another.
Gotcha. So we'll say that you guys stay close enough, weaving your way in and out. You know what? Yeah, I'll say, because this is not a something that you can really fail. It's just a matter of how much you have to kind of weave. You're able to stay close enough to see this take place. And Orit, you see as he steps back next to a drow wearing a familiar owl mask. Hey, that's Kai.
I think he noticed her more from her tallness first in the map.
Yeah, probably. Standing ahead above almost everyone else.
A lean beacon of hope.
I mean, there are other, like, there's orcs that can match her height. There's probably a dwarven golem that could, but for the most part, yeah.
It is a white head of hair amongst the tall crowd.
Definitely noticeable.
To be fair, Dolma's only an inch shorter.
Yeah, but you're right next to him. You're not Kai. You are not Kai. Oh my god. Cannot fool me.
I mean, she could be Kai.
She's not
Oh,
trying
dang
to
it, you're right. But if that's the case, that is like a long con
The
that
long
I was not aware of.
Didn't you know, Orit? I was Kai all along.
It's me.
He just like very casually walks up next to Kai and gives her a slight like poke to let her know that he's right next to her.
She'll jump. Kind of. She's focused on what was taking place in front of her, and she'll look down and she'll. Oh, Orit. Well, I guess I didn't need to wait here if you got all the way up here.
People are weirdly accommodating for, just kind of marching up, I suppose, next in line.
Actually,
Yeah.
I would like everyone... well, hang on. Let me just see what everyone's passive perception is. Let's see here. Because I want to know if you can tell why it was easy for you. Oh, yes, Ori, you would notice. A shoe, you would definitely notice. Tyburn...
You're looking at my persuasion.
Nope. I'm not. I'll explain in a second. Yeah. A shoe and Ori, you would know. The crowd seems to give a somewhat more berth to a shoe. People seem to gravitate away from her, making your trip through easier.
She's the one that parted the Red Sea.
Not quite. It's not like there's a bubble of no one, but it certainly was a much easier time for you than it was for Arthur. And that's why I shoot. That's why I'm saying you definitely noticed.
I see.
I think
Casual races.
Kai would be like, here, you are smaller. And she'll go behind Ori and rest her head on top of his head.
He's like, but Kai, do you want whatever in my backpack or not? Because now I can't reach it.
What is in your backpack? Let me guess. She you can feel her jaw tense up as she's humming and hawing about what could be in there. And then you kind of notice that she kind of
rustling in the backpack.
No, she actually just starts going, huh. She's off in her own little world.
You lost her halfway through. I'd like everyone to roll me a d20, please. Everybody. Kai, as you're off in your own world, you suddenly feel a tug on your legging. And do you look down?
She kicks it.
Oh my god, yeah.
like a dog that's like.
Oh my god.
Not hard, but you know when you're like, oh, there's something on my leg, like something very like light. She'll just kind of like wave her leg, not like a full blown kick, but like a.
Hang on a second. Oh no. Okay.
You killed her.
For the second time today, a small gnomish girl gets shoved back a little bit, but because of the giant backpack she's wearing, loses her balance and falls
Eternally on the ground.
flat on her butt and goes, "Oh,
Do I see this? Can I try and
yeah,
help?
yeah." I think all of you would see this.
I think
All
Kai's
right.
the only one who didn't fucking notice. She's still like thinking like, yes, no.
Here. I'm going to do this. Athletics check to just pick her the fuck up.
Yeah.
Wow.
So, in an instant,
What a hero.
Arthur is there and picks her up and
I
he goes,
should,
"Oh,
but
oh, hello again.
Hi. Puts her back down.
Oh, we seem to keep meeting. I'm sorry. My name's Spirit Dumblethorpe."
Interesting name.
that's Criana laughing, not Kai.
This guy still hasn't noticed yet.
Kai doesn't know. She won't notice.
Are you here to be a hunter?
Maybe?
Oh my god. Is Dolma and Tyre are close enough to the group now, right? Dolma's gonna lean forward and say, "Would you happen to speak Elvish?"
Oh. Yes. And she hesitates for a second, and then in Elvish says, "Is this better?"
Oh my god, yes! Another person who speaks good language! Hi!
Oh.
Good language,
Hi.
not that shit language.
I'm not the best at Elven. My name is Spirit Dumblethorpe. Are you all hunters?
I think so. I think that is why we are here.
Oh,
As far as I know.
and she nods. I am not strong enough to be a hunter, but I am an inventor, and I thought that this would be a good time to sell some of my wares. If you think that, and she starts pouring through her pockets, and she pulls out this little circular ball, and she goes, "If maybe something like this would be of use, this I call a gyro blade. It's like a grappling hook, but it spins and it helps you throw it." And she presses a button and like these blades pop out, but the blades just fall off. And she goes, oh no, that's not supposed to happen. She starts like bending down and picking up the blades. Oh, that wasn't supposed to happen. But I have other things, and this over here. And she pulls out like a small little like metal square, and she goes, "I call this the escape box. If you place it on the ground and you press this button here, it displays a bunch of smoke." And she presses it, and like this little wisp of smoke just kind of putters out in like a
Oh.
I know Doma wants to say something real quick. When the sight of smoke, Tyron like starts to reach it, like, "Oh no, guards will not like this," and then sees how little smoke it is just like kind of like pulls hands back.
Yeah, like your common sense is like, why is she activating? What? You know? Yes, Dolma.
I mean, I was just going to ask if Arthur actually like put her down, because I imagined him just like picking her up fully to his arms, but that might have just been me.
He did note to put her back down.
Mm-hmm. He like
Well-
just picked her up and put her on her
Yeah.
feet. Yeah.
Yeah, basically.
Well, clearly I blacked that out because it's not part of my canon. So, yeah, no, Dolma's just kind of like leaning against Ty, just like, this is painful.
And while she's giving the really sad but heartfelt presentation, like someone else kind of pushes her from behind because she's wearing a giant backpack, and she like steps forward and stumbles against Arthur, and she looks behind and goes, "Oh, so sorry, sir. Well, anyway," and then there's there's like a raise of voices as you guys see motion on the balcony up above you, and her voices drowned it out. You all have your attention drawn up above you onto the balcony. And there's a murmur that runs through the crowd as figures begin to walk out onto the balcony above the courtyard. A tall, athletic man with short blonde hair and the beginnings of a beard walks out first. I'd like everyone to roll me a perception check, please.
Except for me.
No, it's even you.
Wait, what?
Trust
Really?
me.
Okay.
Just trust me.
Squee, that's
Mhm.
just Cullen.
That's Cullen. Wait,
No.
it says Kip. It's Kip.
Nope, it's
I
not.
figured it out.
It's not.
But it says Kip.
Yeah.
It says Kip right there.
It's not.
Kip got hot.
Whoever you think it was. Whoever you
What?
think it
Is he
was.
romanceable? Is he not?
Rihanna, I'm with you. I'm with you.
Romance option. Is he?
Wait, hold on. I need to bring out Cassandra.
Orit, Arthur, Kai, and Ashu. You notice on this gentleman's shoulder sits a very small purple fairy.
Oh, son of a bitch.
Oh, is that who I think it is?
And this man walks out onto the balcony. He's wearing pants and a soft-looking shirt with an
Aw.
unbuttoned dress coat, all in black. A long sword strapped to his back, and the hilt rises above his right shoulder. He stands there for a few seconds looking out into the crowd, as if he's looking for someone in particular.
Arthur is just standing there with a big, huge smile and waving at him. Like,
He's-
straight out above his
Right?
head, waving at him.
Unfortunately, and you're quick to realize this. You're so close to the balcony, he's looking out over. He just
Son
hasn't
of a bitch.
looked down.
How high up is this balcony?
Oh, a good 15, 20 feet up.
Okay.
His eyes start waving through the crowd or streaking through the crowd, and eventually motion catches his eyes, and he looks down and he locks eyes with yeah. A hole. There is certainly a lack of concentrated people around where you guys are, as people have gravitated away from a shoe. He locks eyes with Arthur, and his mouth opens, and whatever he was going to say is drowned out as a cheer rises up from the crowd around you. Actually, I'm sorry. You do hear several people murmur when he steps out and when he's looking through the crowd the name Kip, and people talking about how this is obviously Lady Selene's personal bodyguard. But the cheers rise from the crowd as a beautiful human woman with jet black hair and a brilliant red silk dress, whose picture I cannot find, steps out onto the
Second
balcony.
Kip.
Yeah.
Drew it at one point.
It's just Liliana.
Steps out onto the balcony, and the crowd erupts in cheers of Lady Selene and the Sorcerer Queen. Standing by her side is a broad-shouldered female drow elf dressed in a white gown. Give me
Oh my
one
God,
second here.
Cole.
Wait, it's a drow?
Mm-hmm.
Okay.
Either of
Sorry.
us
I
nab?
lost my place. No, neither of you recognize her.
Okay.
But yes, it's a drow, and that's odd. She's dressed in a lacy white gown, has long white hair pinned up in a tight bun with tails trailing down the front of her shoulders. She stands there next to Lady Serene serenely, and her eyes catch the two of you for a moment, lingers, and then passes on. No sense of recognition as far as you can tell, though you are, more than 20 feet away.
Ori would feel Kai tense.
Ladies,
He kind of like starts to almost like lift up his head to like meet Kai, but then he's like, "All right, she's on my head." He can't move his head.
Lady Selene allows the cheers to continue for a few moments, and then raises a hand, plunging the crowd into anticipatory silence. We all know why you are here. Lady Selene pauses, letting each member of the crowd take a second for reflection. It has been 75 years since the end of the Demon War. While the people of Ardenfell have shown resiliency and strength by recovering and rebuilding much of what we have lost, the scars of that war still run deep. Our beautiful city of Whitebridge, once the jewel of the free lands, is still a fiery wasteland, crawling with demons of great power. Jarek Virmal, the rightful Lich King, and one that I would call friend, has disappeared. In his absence, the wastes have spread ever wider and have completely driven the orcs off their ancestral land, replacing them with unspeakable horrors. If it continues to grow, it will overrun the dwarves and even our own free lands. And if this were not dire enough, the world is growing colder every year. We do not know the cause, but our crops suffer, and all signs point to the world only growing colder. And at that point, in a very silent courtyard, Lady Selene motions towards the drow beside her. This is Sheem Tolan. She is a representative of many of the tribes from our friends in the tundra. She and her people have come to me seeking help. Orit, and Kai, you would have heard the name, though you know that while many tribes will gather, not all tribes ever gather in one place. She is from a tribe distant on the other side of the tundra that you've never met, but you've heard of her. She
don't speak for us.
Right, but she is prominent among many drow tribes.
Noted.
Selene steps back, and Sheem takes her place. Her voice is cool and smooth, like ice on a crisp spring morning. 300 years ago, my people were pushed from our home deep below ground. Our ancestors came to you all seeking asylum, seeking a new home. Our ways were strange, and our desperation helped to make a bad situation even worse. We were driven to the tundra where we learned to adapt to survive. But once again, our home is threatened. The bitter cold is slowly killing my people, and it is time we found a new home. We come before you all seeking aid. We must find a new home, or our people will die. Lady Selene will step back up beside Sheem, and the two women exchange a shared look before she looks back to the crowd. And her eyes, Lady Selene's eyes, glance over all of you. The people of Ardenfell were wrong to drive the drow away 300 years ago. If the drow cannot find a safe home here, perhaps they can reclaim their home that the evil drove them out of. Brave heroes would be needed to help the drow reclaim their homeland, We must atone for our mistakes. However, I cannot offer sanctuary while the wastes overtake more and more land. I traveled to the wastes myself to determine the cause of this growth, and to find a way to halt it. What I found should concern us all. She takes a breath, holding hands over the red of her silken skirts. Additionally, an extremely powerful vampire by the name of Strahd has stepped in to fill the void left by Jarek. He has no care for the world of the living, and plans to grow the wastes until they cover all of Ardenfell. Strahd is a threat to us all, and must be dealt with. He is dangerous and controls the lands around him with an iron fist. His presence unifies the monsters of the waste and poses a grave threat. The head of this snake must be removed. However, I fear that for the spread of the waste to truly be contained, its rightful ruler must return to his throne. I would like, at this moment, all of you, first, if you have any reactions or thoughts, you're more than welcome to share them before I continue.
The only one was just Ty winces at the mention of demons.
Kai and Orit, you do not have to roll this, but anyone who is not those two, if you would like, roll me a history check or an arcana check, your choice.
Two are just whispering to each other.
Yeah, I would like. I'll wait till after this.
Sure. Alright, history, arcana, history, got it. Alright, Shu, Tyburn, and definitely Dolma. You're familiar with the tales of the Drow, how they used to live deep below ground until some ancient evil drove them to the surface. No one remembers what that evil was, but when the Drow came to the surface, they sought for home and were rejected, and in their desperation attacked and lost the war and were pushed to the tundra. This is a story that you are all very well familiar with. I would now like all of you to roll me, again, history or arcana, your choice, a second time.
As a general question, Squee, what if I, let's just say, lived long enough through all of these phases?
Through what phases?
Like...
The Drow were driven from their home 300 years ago.
Oh, okay.
Yeah.
Then not that, no.
No, not quite that old. But you still, you made the check, so you're aware of the stories.
Oh.
Okay. Oh, Kai. Why Kai? But in any case,
I also got a plus 20.
Right? Well, no, but that's this. So Tyburn, I'm going to start with you first. Kai, I'm going to get to you in a second.
Okay.
You've heard the name Strahd. Actually, you've heard the name Strahd Jusini.
Wait, what was the last bit? Sorry, I didn't catch it.
Jusini. Jusninj.
Jusini.
I think that's how you pronounce it. I could be butchering it. A legend that you have heard told through Coalhaven. A very powerful vampire that has lived a very long time, searching for his lost love. You've heard that he is very evil and very dangerous. And you've heard that his lost love is born again and again and again. Kai! Same thing, I just gotta figure out how you would know. Oh, you know what? A wandering peddler once when you were young told you the story of Strahd. The devil Strahd, the vampire.
How long has Strahd been around?
Well, according to the peddler, hundreds of years. At the time, you didn't think much of it, just a story. But from what Lady Selene is saying, maybe the stories were truer than you thought. With that, Lady Selene continues. Faced with so many threats, the kingdoms of Ardenfell agreed that action must be taken. And so you have all gathered here. Heroes and warriors, intellectuals and mystics. I call upon you all for aid. We must stop the growth of the waste before Ardenfell is led to ruin. But there are many paths to help accomplish this goal. No matter what road you take, Jarek Virmol must be found and convinced to return to his lands to stop its spread. To those of you, my hunters, whoever accomplishes this quest awaits a sum of 500,000 gold pieces. To those of you who help destroy Strahd or succeed in reclaiming the Underdark, yet more treasure and power await you. Lady Selene then holds up a small silver pendant with a golden sun emblazoned on it. It sparkles in the sunlight as it spins, pinched between her fingers for all to see. Everyone here who chooses to undertake these tasks will receive an amulet like this one. All the kingdoms of Ardenfell will recognize it, and while it will not allow you to break laws or customs, it will aid you as all of Ardenfell seeks to help you on your quest. Our need is desperate. You are our best hope. I wish luck to you all.
Shu looks like she's about to laugh, and then she almost snaps back to her neutral face.
Gotcha. Kai, you had a plus?
Yeah, I wanted to send a message to Lady Selene.
Okay.
I mean, I'm within
Pulls out a
range.
gun.
You are. You definitely are within range,
Oh god,
yes.
I choked.
So, if I don't know if there's any like weird magical barrier or anything, but
So and this is the cantrip, right?
yep.
So you point to Lady Selene.
Yep.
And you
So
whisper.
what will happen is, all this time, Kai and Orit have been kind of whispering to each other,
Mm-hmm.
and Kai will kind of lean down next to Orit's ear and say, "Let's see if we can make this interesting." And she'll raise her hand past Orit's head and point at Lady Selene, and she will whisper, "I wish to speak to you on behalf of the Halan tribe of the North."
I thought you were gonna say I wish to speak from the hot people tribe. Just
I
like-
want to speak to you on behalf of the Halan tribe of the North.
I also want to point out
Uh-huh.
that if for whatever reason she looks down, she will see Arthur still waving.
Mm.
What a group
She-
that's
her-
like
her
front
eyes
and center.
her eyes would have passed over you, but you would have seen no obvious recognition. But her entire time she has kept a regal and stately pose. Kip, on the other hand, has been staring at you nonstop.
Little wave.
Yeah, almost trying to say, "Fucking stop, you idiot!"
No. Just more of a happy
No?
expression.
Oh, okay.
You're like a
sweet.
tiny, little wave at the hip.
That's not like Kip at all. But okay.
Kai, Lady Selene locks eyes with you. And instead of a cantrip, you get words in your mind. You must learn, young drow, that not everyone is at your beck and call. And then she turns and begins to walk away.
Damn, Lady Selene got savage.
Out of my pointed finger, a lightning bolt cracks open.
Kai will drop her arm next to Orit and kind of give a defeated laugh and then go,
Well, I waited here for nothing. What do you got in your backpack? And she'll start rummaging through it.
And as you do that, the people start mulling about and discussing things as a lot of information has been relayed to everyone. Except there's another commotion. As Kip, with a little purple fairy clinging, trying to pull on his hair, steps up onto the balcony and drops to the ground in front of Arthur with a thud.
Oh my god.
Oh, superhero jump.
Doesn't even go to a 3-point pose, just takes the landing on 2 feet.
Oh.
Oh,
Oh.
that's not good for the knees.
People
No, it's not.
People start looking around, and Kip strides right up to Arthur and just grabs him in a bear hug and says,
Arthur will hug his brother.
and says in Draconic, "I knew you'd make it."
Yeah, Mom was mad at me, but I'm here.
Why was Mom mad?
I said a thing. My teacher said that I would probably be gone for a few years, and I said that would be all right because a few years is just a few years. It's fine. And Mom got mad at me.
He throws his head back and laughs, and then in common, but somewhat slow, he says, "When Mom learned of my position, she went very red."
I can imagine.
And he'll nod and look around. "But you must tell me everything. And who are your friends?"
Right.
I don't know.
Oh my god.
And a
Dolma.
shoe was there.
This is a shoe. I'm their bodyguard, just like you.
Kip will go in front of a shoe and drop into a very deep bow that actually the little purple fairy that has been like pulling his hair this entire time like back towards the palace actually kind of like loses her footing and in a huff flutters back up to his shoulder and then just kind of stands there with her arms crossed. And
Ty would try and catch them from falling.
oh no, they flutter the instant they fling. Roll me a dexterity save.
Okay.
You before she can even flutter, you catch her on your hand, and she just kind of like does like the steadying herself on your palm and looks at you surprised.
Tybert looks just as surprised.
She like brushes her dress off and flutters a little flustered back to his shoulder.
Tybert looks like a cat that just managed to actually catch the prey. Not like in the I want to eat this, but in the sense of,
Oh,
what do I do with this
I
now?
got it. Yeah.
A shoe then responds with a courteous, probably pretty deep bow of her own, and goes, It is a pleasure to meet you, especially presently and so close.
He nods.
There's also these people. I just met them this morning.
Kip
Awkward
will,
wave.
Kip will turn to the rest of you and drop into a bow as well. "Hello. My name is Kip. This is Mia." And the fairy just standing on his shoulders, just like arms crossed, not looking happy.
Tybert waves at both of them, but does not give up her name.
Dolma, looking fairly amused, will drop into a surprisingly practiced curtsy. Doesn't really have a skirt to pull off to the side, but it's just kind of like imaginary skirt, and lifts back up and says, "It's a pleasure to meet you."
Ty gives you a weird look.
What about Kai and Orit?
Ooh,
Ooh, soggy rice cakes, Kai says, putting the flapjacks in her mouth.
He's been like not paying attention at all to this conversation. He keeps trying to like look to Kai, but Kai's like keeps going through his backpack trying to find this food.
Yeah.
Well, it's like whisper like, what did she do? She looked very upset. Are we already going to have to flee the country?
You would hear a very small, fast, high-pitched voice go, Kip, bodyguard of Lady Selene, perhaps it would be best if we continue this conversation not surrounded by everyone and their mother. Oh, right. Well, would you and your friends care to join me for some refreshment, then?
Yeah. Right? Right?
Oh, come on, Ori. I don't know these people. Like, she's like...
He also whispers to her, to be honest, I also don't know. All I know is that he points over to Arthur. Selene's like his aunt or something.
Kai kind of raises an eyebrow and shrugs. Yeah, we're all very good friends. It's very nice to meet you. And she will bow to Kip and the little fairy.
He'll nod his head and motion for the guards, who will step aside, and he starts walking towards the palace.
Ashu takes only a momentary pause before she walks behind Arthur.
Kai finally notices a shoe and is just staring. Pardon me. Kai will tap on a shoe's shoulder.
Is she walking with her?
Yeah, she's like, she's basically gonna start like, I hope you don't find this rude, but what are you?
Do you mean my profession?
I guess everything. I've never seen your kind before, and don't get me wrong, I've been up in the tundra, so I don't see a lot of kinds, but your kind is different. Oh, but where are my manners? I'm Kai. I come from the Halan tribe, and this is my good friend Orit.
Waves hand. Again,
Hello.
I guess he's already traveled next to this person, so it's just like a hello again.
She gives like a small nod and a small courteous smile and looks at Orit and looks back, stops, looks back at Orit, squints.
He looks back and forth.
Kai's like looking at Orit like, did I miss something? How about this? Can I ask you your name?
It is a shoe.
A shoe. What an interesting name. You'll have to forgive me. I'm not too familiar with your Ardenfell language, but I will do my best to try and fit in.
Oof.
Which, by the way, a shoe from your practice, dear, she speaks it quite fluently. In fact, she might even be slowing down a bit on purpose.
Right.
I feel like Dolma and Ty are just standing behind this with like, oh, faces the entire...
I have an idea. Why don't we trade family history? So you tell me something about your family history, and I will tell you something about mine.
Okay, Ty's coming up behind Kai, putting an arm around her shoulder and forcing her inside.
Yeah, no, Dolma's doing the
where are we
same
going?
thing.
Are we going inside?
So
Kai looks
flanked-
around confused.
You're flanked on either side by Ty and Dolma.
Oh, hello. What is your name? And she'll like just continue the whole spiel, like forgetting all about his shoe and like asking you guys about your family history.
Ori watches as his friend is possibly getting kidnapped, but he's not entirely sure.
Also,
Yeah?
Kai and Orit, roll me perception checks, please.
Yes, Dad.
Mm.
Wow, Ori, you're just doing poorly today.
Well, Orit's not one to pry. Kai, Dolma is odd. She has elven features, but not strong elven features. She has dark skin like a drow, but she has gold and white hair like a drow, but golden eyes, and drow don't have golden eyes.
Oh, then Kai would definitely be asking about some family history from Dalma. She'd continue. You look like, sort of Ori. What tribe do you come from? I have never seen such features before.
She gives a polite smile and says, I wasn't born or raised in the tundra.
Oh! How interesting. So you are from your Ardenfell?
Yes.
Interesting. I will have to think this over, but I would love to hear about your family history sometime if we are going to be traveling together. Ooh, look! She'll be like, look at the flooring. It's like made out of marble or something.
Right, it's very
That's
extravagant.
beautiful. Have you seen a design like this before, Orit? Oh, I would have loved it on my mask. And she'll get distracted with that, and we can continue on.
Kip will lead you guys into an antechamber, which is a comfortable room with plush seats and wine on the banister, and he offers wine to everyone. And Mika lands on the desk and is just staring at Kip. Are you mad? Lady Selene said to keep calm and not draw attention, and you jump off the balcony? And Kip, in the middle of, wine glass in one hand, pitcher in the other, does a little, what? My brother was down there. I had to say hello. Then you can use stairs like a normal person.
Lori pipes up unceremoniously to the conversation. I mean, it was pretty cool.
Oh,
Stairs
do
are
tell me about
overrated.
your family history. She'll look at Kip and Arthur.
Oh, I'm actually a black dragon. And then, Mika's, Kip!
A dragon? You don't look like what I imagined you to look like. She stares at his obviously male form.
His eyes flash into reptilian eyes for just a moment.
Kai takes a deep breath and she's walking forward. Teach me how to do that.
I'm afraid I can't.
Oh, God.
It's something you're born with, unfortunately.
Oh, you must tell me all about your family tribe sometime.
Mila's just Mia's just got her face in
Look
her
at the
hands.
Is you looking at anyone else who who is away from the conversation? Not really paying, not in or super in depth into the conversation.
I think Ty and Dolbar are just off to the side looking at each other like, holy fuck.
Yeah, as soon as Kai was just like, oh my god, and took off, they were both just like, and we're going to stay right here outside of all of that.
She looks over at them, then covers the side of her face, kind of cupping it so that it doesn't show for the rest of the group, and then she gives a wink and changes her eyes to the same serpent eyes, and then changes it back to her normal red eyes.
Yeah, hide that shim from Kai because, she'll come back at you.
Ty is just oh hell yeah. she just kind of walks up and is just oh, it's been a while since I've seen a tiefling in the freelance. One used to come through fields every other year.
We are a rarity around. She then fidgets slightly. I'm sorry, I didn't quite introduce myself. I'm a shoe.
I'm Tyburn.
She gives a very strong presence, hand out for a handshake.
Ty will shake it. It is way less professional.
Dolma walks up beside Tyburn, puts an arm around her shoulder and holds out her hand as well. Dolma.
Ashu, pleasure to meet you.
You seem fairly distant from the group. He said he was your bodyguard?
Yes, it's an interesting story. She pauses for a bit. Well, let's just say we've come to an agreement.
Doesn't everyone?
Well, she actually like gets a little bit more awkward than her like stoic stature thing, and goes, I'm sorry, I'm usually not the one initiating conversations. Do you enjoy cards?
Yes.
Dolma laughs a little bit and says, if you're not comfortable with small talk, you don't have to.
We could play cards.
We could play cards.
I have cards. She pulls out a card deck.
She does have cards.
Me too.
Oh my god.
We're in the middle of an official palace and we're talking about gambling.
Not technically gambling, just
Yes.
a card game. It's later when we establish whether or not there's going to be betting.
So, do you guys start playing a card game?
Tempting.
Tempting, but probably shouldn't.
So, well, this might help you make a choice. The first half hour or so is going to be mostly small talk between Kip and Arthur as Arthur catches him up. And Kip will make you speak in common.
Oh
my god, no.
Because as he will
You
stress,
hate this.
it is rude to speak in a language your friends do not understand. And Kip doesn't know Elvish.
So wouldn't that be reverse as
Kip
well?
doesn't know Elven.
Kai would be invading that personal family space and like just listening on the conversation, and like she might even help to like chime in with like words he might be stumbling on.
So, Arthur,
That
what do you
actually
think?
would help. You would appreciate that.
In that half hour of small talk, what do you think Kai would learn about you?
Oh, what would Kai learn about me?
Well, I would say real quick, are you able to do the blinky thing like your brother? Because
No.
she would ask you if you could do that right away.
He would say that he can't because he's not old enough. He still has a couple more years until he will be a fully grown adult.
And then she'd probably say something like fascinating, and then she would like put her chin in her hands and just continue watching the both of you.
Oh my god. The second Arthur says that, Mila on the table goes, "That's not how that works. Dragons can be dragons from the day they're born. Kip had to wait until he was a fully grown adult to become a human." And like Kip like covers her mouth. And he goes, "I'm sorry. Please continue."
You know, that's the second time somebody's told me that. That's not what my mom said. So I'm just gonna go with what my mom said.
Kip like looks at Arthur and he goes, "Oh, are we doing this?"
He's actually kind of tearing up right
Yeah.
now.
He goes,
Oh
"Okay,
no!
we're
Kai
doing
would give
this."
you a hug. She'd be like,
Kip,
please do not cry.
Kip would sit down next to Arthur. Oh my god, this is such an awkward conversation. He'd go, "Arthur, I look at you. I see that you are out in the world, a bodyguard even, and I feel like you should be treated like an adult, not my kid brother. What Mia said, while rude," he looks at Mia, "was true. Normally, when I was your age, I was unable to take human form and had to remain in my dragon form. It wasn't until I grew older that I could control my shape. It is... Your issue has never... Arthur, there has never been a union between a human and a dragon before. We do not know what that means for you.
This means you are special.
That is true.
But-
Mm-hmm.
But but
You are.
you
Oh, I'm sorry. she'll like shut up and like listen. If she had popcorn, she'd be eating it.
you Mom said that you started mastering shifting at when you were an adult.
Mother,
when you were 50.
Mother, for all her strengths, cares greatly about your well-being. She was worried that treating you different from anyone else might be not the best for you. Father and I disagreed, but you know how Mother is.
So am I gonna be like this forever?
No, of course not. I don't think so. Look, half of you is dragon, just like me. That has to come out at some point. And you can do things that I've never seen anyone else do.
Yeah. You're right. I don't know what to think.
Well, think of it as an adventure.
Okay.
And he goes, like I did, you'll just have to learn patience. And like there's this biggest snort from the fairy on the counter behind Kip. So, continuing on in that half hour, what would Kai learn about you? Other than
that
everything she
for-
just learned.
Yeah.
Yeah.
Kai is
he's going
unusually
to-
focused.
He's going to try and catch Kip up on the many years that he's been gone from Windfall Isle. Mostly his accident. Kai would learn that the scars across Arthur's back was due to a troll
Ooh.
that almost killed him.
Ah.
And that's why he was put into the monastery that's on Windfall Isle. And he just has a knack for all of their stuff. And he will outright say, he didn't really learn much. He's kind of cheating with all of their tests and stuff. But apart from that, like, it's just small mundane things like, oh, hey, he's doing super well. And eventually he could become a master if he goes out in the world and finds a truth about the world and comes back to the monastery. That's his goal.
A truth.
Yeah.
What defines a truth?
Some kind of revelation.
Interesting. How old are you?
48.
And Squee, I don't know anything about dragons, do I? Like, how does that?
No. So
that-
dragons come from Windfall Isle, which is
That's,
literally
like,
as far
way-
from the tundra
yeah,
as
I
you
was
can
gonna
get.
say, I don't think she knows shit. So she'd
No.
just be like, and how long is? I suppose I'm more familiar with my lifespan, but I do not know much about dragons. So I am curious as far as like age progression. And how old are you, Kip?
Oh, well, I suppose I'm around 97.
All right, so that's quite a big age gap, I would say. So, how long do dragons normally live for?
Oh, well, The oldest of us are well over 1,000 years old.
Oh, fascinating. All right, so you both are quite young.
I'd like to
Yeah?
say that I'm in my prime.
I mean, I am young as well, so we can all be young together. And we will find you that truth. Oh, I know you'll just find it out there, especially if we go, Kai, like thinks like, what the hell is Lady Selene saying? Like, what was the whole speech about? And she won't say that out loud, but you can see her mind like, oh, I really wasn't paying attention during that speech.
And with that, Kip will actually lean back, and we'll say, so during this half hour, will Ashu and Tai and maybe Dolma have been playing cards?
Yeah.
Yeah.
Ty probably would have snuck over, taken a picture of wine in a couple glasses, and bring it over to the table.
Bless.
I would like all of you to roll a performance check. Those of you who have a gaming set, roll with advantage. Sorry, Dolma.
Me too? Or
No, those are the
With
three.
a gaming
the three
set
that
or
are
a
playing cards.
proficiency with
Yeah, yeah.
them?
Well, do you have a gaming set but not proficiency?
No, I'm just asking,
don't.
wondering,
No.
whatever.
Yeah, I don't have proficiency. I just have the gaming set.
Oh,
Yeah.
Can
I didn't know you
have-
need proficiency.
Can I use
just...
deception?
yes, you can.
Oh, boy.
You need the gaming set and proficiency with it.
It's goldfish.
Goldfish.
So what you would do is use Ty, use your deception check with proficiency.
You
So-
said I could use performance.
Correct, unless you're trying to. So you know, there's several ways to play the game, right? How would your character play the game, and we'll use that to determine the skill. So Ty, you go ahead, and you're already proficient in deception, so just roll deception.
Okay.
Ashu with advantage because you have proficiency in the gaming kit, and Dolma, how would you play? Would you play honest?
Is that what gets me performance?
I mean, yes, that'd be what gets you performance.
I mean, pretty much. Like, she's not trying to poker face it, so.
Gotcha. Okay.
Jesus.
Okay.
God damn it!
I wanted a
You've
shoe to
met
win
your
regardless.
match.
All right, so I'm curious about this. A shoe just beats the pants off you guys, but I'm curious how a shoe is as a player.
Ashu, very unsimilar to how she talks and whatnot. Once she sits down at the table, she becomes almost statuesque, stoic, eyes just darting through you, examining every single part of you and what it could possibly be. And then she just starts small talk. Actually, any small facts about your characters you would like to share? This would be a good time.
As a shoe, even without you fully realizing it, uses small talk to distract you.
Cool.
It's,
I'm
it's
okay with
the
it.
little old lady gene. Like, it's just woven into every elderly woman ever.
Ouch, she's not that old.
Squish, she's pretty old.
Yeah, she's not Betty White.
Aw,
Isn't
cute.
she?
No.
Oh my god.
She appears to be what, in her late 50s, early 60s, right? Ish, that area.
Yeah, I think how does she appear? She definitely appears to be like I feel like early 40s, where she has the visibility of age of like her hair and whatnot, but she's actually fairly smooth.
Got
Like
you.
she's not wrinkled.
Starting to
like
get crow's
crow's
feet.
feet,
But
basically.
yeah, exactly. Yeah.
She moisturizes.
Got you, but certainly not geriatric yet. Any small details Tyburn or Dolma would have revealed?
Oh, too many.
Yeah, no, it would mostly be Tyburn.
Tyburn, this is both things you will learn and reasons to justify her actions. One, has essentially been on the streets for Elora, how old did I make her? Did I make her 21 or 22?
I think she's
21.
21. Yeah.
21. So for the last 7 years, she's effectively been like living with like criminal underworld just from necessity and survival. With like the last 2 years living in like 4 years. I don't remember how long I said that one. In like what is the equivalent of the Continental from John Wick. So in her sense, she's 100% playing this less as like. Partially she's cheating because that's the only way she knows how to play the game. That's how
Right.
she was taught. And partially just because she is 100% using this as a way to like, a casual way to just talk with people.
Gotcha.
You will also learn that she is from a farming town called Fields that got attacked by demons and now everyone's dead. Anyways, moving on.
And Tyburn, Ashu, I don't know if you pick it all up or not. She uses deception to try and win the game. Dolma uses flashy movements, but plays honestly. But she's that domino player that slams that thing down.
The thing about Ashu is she's also playing honestly, but she reads people extremely well,
Mhm.
She's
as
counting
well
cards.
as gives nothing away, if not actually gives away that other things that she might not have.
Gotcha.
Oh,
She implies that she might have something when she does not.
also, I guess it'll probably come obvious, if it hasn't before this game, that Dolma and Tyburn have known each other for a couple years now and are very close.
Yeah, that would probably have come out. Anything from Dolma?
Not really. Like, as Tyburn's going on, like, she might correct a detail every once in a while or add something in, like, that she might have been involved in. I don't know. But for the most part, she's letting Tyburn chatter on.
Gotcha.
Minimal interruption.
So we'll say about half an hour or so has passed, and at that moment when Kai is telling Arthur, we can find that truth when we he tries to remember the speech, Kip will actually lean back, draining his wine, and go, yes, actually, about that, since you're all hunters. What is it that you plan to do with your drow companions? Are you thinking about reclaiming the Underdark?
I'm a bodyguard. So I'm just gonna protect them. Arthur's going to awkwardly make an apple and start eating.
Oh,
So Kai,
I know we moved on, but I just
Uh-huh.
realized there's one other thing that would probably have come out.
sure.
Tyburn probably would have gone off about her shovel that is named Shiofra that she has because she's a grave robber.
Oh, nice.
Said that.
Oh, how lovely.
You know, inside Ashu is amazed and befuddled and whatnot. She is outside. I'm sorry. She's been in this game for too long.
How
She
grave
will
robber,
ask
that's
questions.
nice.
Stone.
She
Oh.
will ask questions once the game is done.
It's like, oh, grave harbor, that's nice. Inside, it's like, what the fuck?
I know, I pay some bills.
Normally, but a little bit like too normally.
Oh man.
Oh, I heard you're an engineer. Interesting.
So Kai, because this will be the first time you've seen it, you see Arthur put an apple seed in his hand at some point, and an apple. What color?
Oh, this one is going to be navy blue.
A navy blue apple grows in his hand, and he just starts eating it.
Yeah. The flesh is kind of off-white.
She'll stare. She'll look at Kip. Is this another dragon feature?
He shakes his head. No, this is all Arthur to himself.
So this is one of the things that makes him special.
Kip would nod.
Oh, fascinating! Can you grow me an apple?
Yeah?
Let me see.
Do Do you like sweet things or?
Yes.
Okay. He's going to grab a apple seed from his belt pouch and grow it into a pink apple.
And then she'll.
If you bite into it, the flesh is light green.
Huh. So yeah, she'll accept it and bite into it.
So here's the flavors that burst into your mouth.
Oh boy.
So you get an overwhelming taste of cooked apples,
Ooh.
along with a little bit of cinnamon and a lot of vanilla. It's delicious.
Kai looks like she's in heaven, and she'll look at Arthur and say, "Oh, I think you're missing out on your true calling. You should open up some sort of bakery or something and just sell apples."
Yeah, maybe.
Wouldn't that just be a fruit stand?
I am not familiar with your Ardenfell language.
she'll kind of weakly smile and then continue biting into her apple.
She's like my wife. She's perfectly fluent in English, but when she doesn't want to be, I don't speak English.
Arthur will reply, "My dad likes cooking as a hobby. That's how I know a lot of these."
Oh, so your father can grow apples as well?
No, that's just me.
Oh, so you truly are special. Oh, wonderful.
And she'll just keep eating the apple.
I guess.
And Kip will lean forward and then look to Kai and Orit. So, did you come as hunters to find Jarek Vilmor, or to free your people, or your people's homeland?
No, why can't it be both?
Kai will kind of smile, but Ori might notice that as she was eating the apple, she's like taking it all in and like, so good. And as her head kind of tilts up, you see her now just staring at the ceiling while eating the apple.
Kip
Which,
will...
by the way,
Mhm.
that apple is basically like Goodberry but better.
Right.
So, if you were to be damaged in any way, you heal 1d4,
Oh
and
my God.
you do not need to eat for the rest of the day.
Arthur is the best character.
But he's burning through points like mad.
I've used 3 so far.
Kip would then look to Orit and go, I suppose you have very lofty goals, though I'm not going to stop you.
Well, no good ever came from being too low to the ground. You need to look higher sometimes.
I agree. So what are your thoughts? And he'll look to Arthur and then to the others. You're the hunters. What are you thinking?
Ty will look at Dolma and just mouth book.
Dolma
Sorry.
will look at her and raise a brow slowly and go, well, I suppose if we're putting all of our cards on the table, and she tosses her hand down.
Does she lose with it?
Yeah, obviously she knows she's
Yeah.
lost.
It was a bad hand, man. She kind of turns to the rest in her seat and goes, we came across something that may be of use in looking for Jarek.
Kip's
Found a
eyes
book.
widen.
Or part of a book. It looks like there's parts missing.
Well,
What kind of book?
Squee, remind me, because it's been like over a month.
yeah,
So
sure.
I actually forgot about the book until you
It
mentioned
is-
it earlier.
It is a journal. from the True Elf Sky. It is half a journal, actually. The book has been ripped in half. It is in a language that you do not understand, though there have been some translations scribed in it, though nowhere near even half of it. And it talks about how... well, it talks about many things, but pertaining to this particular one, how Finian, the hero of one of the heroes of the Demon Wars, was the last one to see Jarek Viermal alive, and Sky knew of this while she wasn't there herself, as she was traveling with Finian, though the location where she last saw Jarek was in the other half of her journal, which very clearly in the book that you were told was torn and given to Lady Selene for safekeeping due to other information within the journal.
Okay, thank you.
Mhm.
So Ty's verbal response is, so, because of this book, as like half a book, it will, essentially, it's like, we need to talk to Selene, so we can talk to Finian, so we can talk to Sky, so we can find Jarek. It's a 4-step process. And it looks like we're at step
Wait.
1.
Just so you know, it'd be talk to Sky so you can talk to Finian to find Jarek.
Yeah, Doma like opens her mouth just like.
No, have Doma correct her, please, because that's gonna
Yeah.
be canon.
We
Yeah, no.
we encountered somebody back on Windfall Isle that was trying to do the same thing. Track down this journal. And they ended up being cursed for it. By some group with a green
dragon?
as a crest.
Oh, like
Yes.
this? Kai will hold up the green crested dragon
Or
amulet
it was
she
just
has.
about to like grab Kai because he knew that was gonna happen. But I think he's a little bit too late.
She'll side glance to Oreed and say, well, it seems to be part of the puzzle.
I
Yes.
love how I just realized every solo session was a duo of one person who was super blunt and one person who's super secret.
Oh my god.
So
It's gotta even out somehow, man.
So Kai pulls out a pendant that looks exactly like the green dragons the others of you have seen.
That's the one.
Got it on a note that a companion got with some tea left outside of her hotel room. So clearly, whoever these green dragon people are, do not want anything happening, which, cool.
Fascinating. So, okay, let me see if I can follow this. And Kai will, like, set the pendant down in her lap and say, so, this person was looking for that journal? And she'll look at
Yes.
Arthur. And
The complete journal.
the complete journal, which Lady Selene has the other... Wait, do I not know that?
No,
You don't know that.
Well,
I don't know that? Is that...
No, Ty
did
yeah.
that.
Ty said that you needed to find the other half. I thought you said that Lady Selene had it.
We need to find. We only have half the book, and we need to talk to Selene.
That's true. That's true.
Oh,
That's what
okay,
you said.
okay,
Yeah.
so...
I
okay.
didn't say Selene had the book.
All right,
That is
I'll
very
recant
true.
that, save it. She'll say, so they are looking for the whole book, but they were cursed. By...
Yes.
How do you know it was these people that cursed them?
Well, I'm not 100%.
Did they leave their mark?
Ashu lays out her hand and then goes, it was a card that was put on her when she was cursed.
Was she an elf?
Yes?
Tell me, this elf was the one that perished from the curse?
Yeah.
Yes, and before we go too much farther about dancing around things, she turned
Oh.
into ice and then...
Same.
Yes.
Yeah.
Fascinating.
Well, it seems unique that we all shall meet here at the same time and have stories that interconnect in such a way.
Right? Almost as if somebody is
Orchestrating all
this
of it.
behind the scenes. Sweet.
I don't know why you guys are laughing. This is a serious matter.
Kai sits up and says, "Tell me, do you know if this elf had the wasting?"
I don't know.
Did it look
wasting, but she looked
healthy?
no,
Not healthy. Frozen.
not how.
Kip sits
Very.
up.
It
Kip
was
sits
on
up.
her deathbed, but more because she believed that she was cursed.
Kip sits up. Wait, what's the wasting?
The wasting is... Wait, you have not heard of it? Oh, right. It is not... we do not really talk about it. Except now, Orit and I have vowed to make a change, and we are going to talk about the wasting so that we can fix it. Isn't that right, Orit?
No, I don't remember making an exact vow, but sure, that's, yeah.
Perhaps I did most of the talking, but I don't quite remember. Yes,
I think
the
you
wasting...
did most of the talking.
Yeah. The wasting is a disease that afflicts elves. It slowly destroys the body and mind. It's rampant.
That's horrible. I didn't
I have
know.
experienced it many times myself.
What?
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 Yes. I have died many...
God comes out. What?
No, that was Kip.
Kai sits up. Yes. Forgive me, I don't think I've properly introduced myself. I come from the Helan tribe. And there I am known as Inheritor. I inherit the memories of previous inheritors. And previous inheritors have died from wasting. It is very unpleasant.
What?
Surprise.
I
jazz hands.
Forgive me, our tribe is very small considered, or when compared to your Ardenfell.
Oh, shit.
Cool.
As a player, this is blowing my fucking mind.
As a player, I'm getting angry about the book, The Giver, again.
I've never read it.
Maybe Kai did.
This is not your fault. This is my elementary school making me read it 3 times in a row.
Yeah.
So sorry.
Shit, dude.
Kip's
This
just
is
like
crazy.
Yeah, Kip's just sitting back trying to absorb all of this.
I guess I'm not sure how much your Ardenfell knows of our people. I mean, we are quite... But you, and she'll look at Dalma, you are one of us. You do not know of our history? Oh, you are not from our tribe.
Yeah, this whole time Dolma's just had this deep frown on her face. Just kind of like deep in concentration, and as soon as you actually like acknowledge her, she kind of blinks out of it and goes, I'm sorry, what?
Your Ardenfell is not familiar with the traditions of the tribes of the north?
No, not particularly. I said before I was born and raised here.
I see, but you are special because you are a bridge. You're a bridge from our people to this new world that we are exploring.
She kind of makes a face a little bit, just kind of like,
Kai
No
kind of just has
pressure.
a pleasant smile on her face, and she'll look around. But yes, I believe we were talking about the wasting. So your frozen elf was not wasting away?
No, she was actually quite lively.
Could... ours was poisoned. Could this poison have been like something that sped up the wasting?
Well, I can only speak from my experience and what I've seen from others. In our tribe, we have different offerings for those who are dying of the wasting, and most of the time it involves a ritual to allow them on to their next life. So if I would imagine, though, poisoning sounds like it would be very painful, but I cannot say what method they would take to end their suffering.
I mean, ours.
Yeah,
Didn't-
Doma shakes her head and says, "This wasn't her choice."
It was, in her mind, it was a gift. It was just something that was left outside of her hotel room. Now it was suspicious, and then we thought it was just poison. She got upset at seeing the green dragon logo on the note, threw the tea at the wall. Some splashed on her, some splashed on the wall, and suddenly acid.
Yes, I would not choose that way to kill myself.
No, it was horrifying.
I'm
That's why I
sorry
got
you had
drunk.
to- I am sorry you had to witness such a horrific sight. You see, I received this pendant, and you'll have to forgive me, I do not know much about it, but the elf that carried it was dying of the wasting.
They
Uh,
carried the green dragon pendant?
Yes, and they said other people... Okay, Squee, you're gonna have to remind me.
Sure.
The other people who have the pendant are all of the same mind? Like...
Correct. So what she told you was the people who had the green pendant were a secret order attempting to find a cure for the wasting. And
Okay.
that they were very secretive because there were people out there that were trying to stop them.
Okay. So, Kai would hold up the pendant and just say, they're a secretive order. There are people trying to stop their mission, but their mission overall, from what I understand, is to end the wasting.
I have a question. We have all said elf. What kind of elves?
Hi. Wait, did I know that?
Yes, you did.
Yes, I did. Okay.
Hi, elf.
Yours high.
Mine.
As
also
with
fine.
ours. Yeah.
Kai is
420
staring at
lays
the Kai is staring at the pendant and looks like she's not paying attention to the group anymore.
Or it just kind of gently, like, gives her a poke to, like, get her back into the living world. Like,
Pardon me.
very gently.
What? Hi? Yes, the elves, our elf, Nori, she passed away.
Norris.
She was a high elf, yes.
Wait, did the bartender know your elf as well?
Yes. In fact, she was the one who recommended us to the, mundane?
Modest Inn.
Sure, that one.
Same.
Yeah, the mundane end,
Sorry.
yeah.
Sorry,
Damn.
Kyron
Wait, was
says
that
like,
mundane Inn?
Yeah, I may have messed up the name once or twice because they're so similar.
Yeah.
But it's the mundane end.
It's
in.
so mundane.
Oh, I
Yeah,
wrote
because-
modest in my
yeah.
notes.
I like I said, I may have because like I said, especially like Mia and Mika, I am messing up left and right. Off to a great start.
Well done.
Although Tiber would 100% just be like, yes, the modest Inn, like that is his name.
So, did all of our elves know the man at the inn? Is that
Yeah.
what we are getting at? That's
They all
quite
know
curious.
the man. They all died the same way, and they all have some connection to this green elf thing. And the book? Did your guys have connection to the journal?
I have not heard of any journal before. I will say that the Norith did say that the man at the inn was not part of this organization.
He also knows Draconic. Which is
Yeah, we
very
saw
rare.
that or heard that.
He looks over,
Um,
he's like, what's that got to do with anything? I'm just...
Wait.
There's been talk of wasting, high elves, and then, oh, he knows Draconic.
Kai would turn to Oread and say, yes, pendant. And then she would like look at the pendant with him, like hold it up in front of their eyes.
Wait, hold on.
He squints at it and stares at it intently.
I do find it odd that it is a dragon on the pendant, though.
Yeah, she never did tell us what it was meant to symbolize.
I think she wanted to die.
Well, yeah.
Sorry, that's
clearly.
crazy. Wait. Was your guys' elves also allergic to cats?
Kai.
I'm afraid
Yes,
I did not.
ours was.
What the fuck,
Blonde
Squish?
hair, green eyes.
Hey,
Wow.
Squee.
Yes.
I rolled extremely high on this, and I have a sneaking suspicion I actually, as a player, might know what the heck this is.
Uh-huh.
Can I make a guess?
On what?
What this...
You know what?
What might have happened?
Make a guess, my friend.
Would these, by chance, be, I don't know, ice clones?
I mean, evidence fits theory. Simulacrums, when they die, turn into snow and ice.
And are allergic to cats?
Not
They
particularly,
all
no.
have a
But they are
similar...
they are exact copies of the original with the same preferences and dislikes.
I did it.
Bitch. That,
It's
honestly,
it's-
that's where my mind was going too. But gee,
it can be super hard to hide things when your players rolling nat 20s on knowledge checks all night.
I'm sorry.
It's fine. It's totally fine.
What was
Yeah,
it, like
I'm not-
7?
It was insane. We took screenshots.
I saw
yeah,
one of
we
them.
did. Man, I don't know.
See, he just looks over his like, I don't remember her ever talking once about cats.
I mean, that's something we should have asked her now that I think about it.
Kai grows very serious.
Well, now in hindsight, but you know, there was a lot going on, and I mean, there was a horse. She wasn't allergic to horse.
I do not believe they are the same species. But I could be wrong. It has been many years.
Roll me, Kai and Ori, roll me just a straight intelligence check. Also, did a shoe say any of what you told me aloud? Or is this all still just internal for her?
You know what? She would probably just go, just a theory, but I have looked into quite a bit of magic, and I think this might be an odd one that most people do not know of, but I think that might have been some sort of clones.
Clones exist?
Kai frowns, and it gets even deeper than any frown Oread has ever seen before.
And real quick, because of your intelligence check, maybe not so much about cats, but didn't they say something about tea? Norith was always making tea.
Yeah, what about it? Everyone drinks tea.
No, they don't. I mean, it's not the most uncommon thing in the world, but it is another similarity.
I'll have you know that my tribe loves iced tea very much.
They don't have a choice. Yes, Dilma.
At that point, Dolma is going to get up from the table, and she's going to walk over to Kip and go, "When are we meeting Lady Selene?"
Kip's face, who's been watching all this, suddenly looks up and looks startled. What? I'm sorry. I just brought you guys here to catch up with my brother. I didn't know you... I don't know. I've not asked.
I would not talk with her. She does not seem to be in a very good mood, Kai will announce to the group.
Kip, looks at her. She's stressed. We
I understand.
had a very dangerous encounter with Strahd, and I almost lost my life, and she does not like that.
That is very
Isn't that your
concerning.
job?
Yes,
Excuse
that's what
me?
I say. He rolls his eyes and looks at Arthur. We went to the waste to determine what was happening. We ran into Strahd. Words were exchanged. More was exchanged. Well, let's just say there's a few werewolves that I had to break.
There's werewolves?
There
Perhaps
are
we should.
many monsters.
Yes. There's even werewolves down at Windfall Isle.
There's a knock on the door, and the door opens, and a blonde-haired high elf, green eyes, short hair, wearing
Oh my gosh.
no, not the same.
Okay.
Wearing
She's just gonna be on the. Yes, I cloned my.
It was me. It was me.
wearing white robes, steps in and says, Kip, Lady Selene has been looking for you. And Kip goes, oh, Finian. Right. Of course.
What?
Tyber's pointing.
Kip
I do
sees
not
you.
understand. Why are we pointing? she looks at her. What are we pointing at?
It's the like, wait, you. I'm supposed to talk to you at some point.
Kip
The
sees
frozen
that,
elf.
and then his eyes widen. He goes, "Oh, no, not Mia." And Mia extends on Kip's shoulder and says, "That is not the Finian you're looking for."
Oh, lower sound.
And Finian's eyes widen. Anyway, she requests your presence, and she kind of looks back behind her, or perhaps she is on her way. And Finian will step to the side. And two women enter the room, striding quickly. Lady Selene, followed closely by Sheem. Orit. When Sheem enters the room, a very familiar voice inside your head says, "She is not drow, but she is dangerous. Be careful."
Root tries to hide a face. Not doing a particularly good job. I think he kind of tries to hide behind Kai a little bit.
Kai will wave at Lady Selene as she enters.
Lady Selene stops.
Hi, Auntie.
Tyber's more questioning, pointing like, is this the person I think it is?
And she just tries to take in the room. And
Hi, I'm no longer the only human.
and
And the shoes there.
yeah. she sweeps over the room. She sees Arthur and she goes, "Arthur, was it?
Yeah,
It is good
it's been
to
a
see
long
you.
time.
You were yay high when I last saw you." And she has her hand down below her knee. You've grown.
Yeah, I have. I stopped growing a while back too.
Kip, I do not mean to take you away from family, but we have important matters to discuss. It has been a pleasure to see you all. And Kip goes, actually, they kind of wanted to speak to you. And Lady Selene's eyes lock with Kai.
Kai
Yes.
shrugs and just kind of pointing at the others like, wasn't me, I swear. I just came along. I don't know what their
Christ.
plan is, you know.
Traitor.
And
Well, that's what she did. They literally walked Kai into the building.
it's true. It's very true. And Lady Selene looks around. How important is it? And she looks very tired.
It would involve the hunt, and probably a step closer than a lot of people outside have.
She closes her eyes and then nods. Finian, would you be a dear and close the door for me? And Finian nods her head and steps outside and closes the door. I have only a few minutes to spare. I do not mean to be rude or curt, but much is going on. Please be quick.
We have the matching journal to the half you have.
Yeah, at that moment, Dolma pretty much just takes out the journal and slaps it down on the table with a little more force than probably necessary.
Look
And
at
her
this
face is
shit.
stony.
Boom.
You guys,
Kai will tap her chin and smile.
you guys realize that all of this I was expecting to come out piecemeal, right?
You remember how I made the note how each group had someone who's very blunt?
I accounted that this might happen. I just didn't think it would all happen in session 1. That's fine. It's amazing. A shoe.
has something.
Yes, you have a plus sign.
I'd like to turn my back and cast Identify on a particular ring.
Oh yeah, that's right.
That's a 10-minute ritual.
Well, he's not casting as a ritual. On which ring?
You remember the ring that we got from the lady?
Yes, I do now.
Mhm.
You cast Identify
That's
on
the
it.
ring, right? Pip?
Yes.
Yeah, it's the ring.
It is not magical. It is very well made, very well crafted, and has the sigil of a high elf house, but it is not magical.
Just checking.
What are your suspicions? If you don't mind me
Well,
asking.
Generally going towards a specific thing, being guided to something and whatnot. Maybe this was some sort of getting closer to a particular person or object. There might have been a thing on it.
Roll me a damn Arcana check, you bastard.
Son of a bitch.
Oh boy. Give me a hot second once I find. There's my character. Arcana. It's okay. It's okay.
It is okay.
It's not bad. You do know enough to know that following your suspicions, right? The item itself is not magical. The only thing that you could think that it could possibly provide use for is that if someone were to use some form of scrying spell, it gives them bonuses, or it makes it much easier for them if the target is or possesses something that they are intimately familiar with.
Scrying. Sorry, refresh my memory what a scrying is.
A scry spell is a spell that basically allows you to create an invisible magic eye above a location of your choice to basically to spy on someone. It is a spell that's fairly high level, and if and like I said, this is the only thing you could think following your line of suspicions, is that if the target has something that the caster is intimately familiar with, or if the caster is intimately familiar with the target, it is easier to cast the spell. Like an anchor.
I see. So let's just say if there's like an eye on this. And is it like a thing to cast a spell through the item, or
No, it is simply if it is what you are thinking. It is simply the fact that you carry an item they are intimately familiar with. They focus on the item. It's kind of like they cast the spell on the item, and since you are carrying it, you are spied upon. Does that make sense?
I see. Ashu slaps the item down on the table and goes, Selene, you're probably a very powerful spellcaster. Can you, remove this spyglass?
Spyglass?
I have a high suspicion that this has been scryed upon.
Lady
Cried upon.
Scryed upon?
Dulma. Yes, yes.
Does that look familiar, Squee?
The house sigil looks familiar, yes.
Mm-hmm.
Mm-hmm.
Mm-hmm. That's interesting.
Give me a second here.
Jesus Christ, man. This is all coming together. Meanwhile, Squee is frantically going, no, this is for session 6 and 8. Oh no!
And
I
Jarek
will
is right outside.
I will be fair. I will praise my players and be fair as well.
Holy shit.
I considered this possibility as you are all clever players. And I did so, I leaving as much clues as I did, because what fun is it if I leave no clues? I just figured it might take you a little longer, but I thought this might happen.
Meanwhile, all I'm doing is eating apples and talking shit.
Lady
You got us
Selene,
in.
Lady Selene would cast a spell of detect magic and then spin around the room, stop at a certain point, and then immediately cast another spell. A spell that none of you are particularly familiar with because you're just not high enough level. But when she is finished, she says, "Okay." And she sits down. "You have my attention. We are safe. No more scrying. Though I am curious who was doing it." And she actually motions for Sheem to sit as well, who does so coolly.
First things first, do you want an apple? Are you hungry?
"No, Arthur, thank you. I'm much more curious in what is going on here. And why you have that." She looks at the half diary.
He's gonna grow an apple anyways and offer it to the other.
To who? Who's the other?
Sheem?
The Sheem.
Sheen looks at you side-eyed and then curtly shakes her head.
Okay.
Kai's eyes kind of narrow on Sheem, but she says nothing.
He just gently puts it down on the table and just sits there.
Gotcha. Real quick, I don't want to give anything away. Someone tested something. I'm not sure what you were testing. I think I know. It worked, if that's what you were testing. Though I don't know how you did it or what you did.
Who, me?
Oh. Nope. Tell you what, guys.
Someone's giggling.
I am
Oh, I thought I was muted.
I am going to drag Tyburn into the secret room for a moment.
Okay.
Oh, okay.
Bye, Tyburn.
Goodbye.
Like I taught Squee you could whisper to GM.
She was whispering to me, but I didn't know that was a thing you could do, so I'm just like, okay, Tyburn sending me messages. Can everyone see this? Because she's testing something.
How do you send messages? Because I'd like to know that for future reference.
Oh, nope. Okay.
I
gonna
would
type
say
in
it would be
apparently.
good to teach everyone because it gives me an
There you
alert
go.
sound, so it's impossible.
But
Like
no space.
Oh, nice.
Oh, no
Because-
space between the dash and the whisper. Or
Okay,
the
I'm gonna-
slash and the whisper.
I'm gonna
it,
pin it.
it's actually really useful because sometimes when you guys send me messages in Discord, if I don't, because I'm on stream mode, if I don't see the highlight, I may miss it.
Mhm.
But this literally goes bloom, so it's impossible for me not to notice. Yep.
Did it work?
Yep, it worked.
Ha, sweet.
Well, because I knew you could do that in Roll20, so I'm like, there has to be a way in Fantasy Grounds.
Yeah, so that works. All right, so where were we in this big mess?
Offering Sheem and Apple.
Yes, Sheem just curtly shook her head. Lady Selene sits there patiently, looking at Ty and Dolma.
Someone who unfortunately
God,
had an
everyone-
unfortunate.
Sorry,
I'm
everyone's
sorry.
whispering me all at once. Alright, sorry. Please continue, Ty.
I'm sorry for starting this. This is my
No,
fault.
it's
Anyways,
really useful, though.
also for, I guess, to help, if you want to whisper to a player, if you right click their icon at the top, you can just, there's a whisper option.
Mm-hmm.
Oh.
I say
just didn't know how
like
to do
I
that
knew
with
this.
GM.
I say like I know this.
Yeah,
Oh, sure.
I
Oh, yeah,
found
I
that
knew
real fast. I just couldn't figure out how to do it with GM, so I googled that one because you can't right click GM. And I didn't know if you would look up Wally's chat. Anyways, she will be like, "We came into possession, not illegally. We didn't steal this. I will say that much." She says, kind of like fiddling with her fingerless glove on one of her hands briefly. That the person who initially owned it said you the other have to, and it will help in the next step towards finding Jarek.
Why would she think Sky's journal would find Jarek?
Because it could find Finian, who probably know where Jarek is.
Selene looks up and looks past the door where Finian closed it, and then closes her eyes. Ah, that Finian.
Yeah, I guess. Yeah.
How many Finians does your Ardenfell have?
More than I thought.
Enough.
Apparently so.
She responds, enough. This person, where are they? I would like to speak with them.
They passed away, unfortunately.
Did they by chance say how they came into possession?
Did they tell me that, Squee? I don't remember.
They did. They used to be an acolyte of Sky. They trained underneath her, and Sky left and they went their own direction, but she was given Sky's journal.
She used to train under Sky, and I guess it was like a parting gift.
Ah. You speak of North.
Yeah.
Oh,
No,
yes. Is
we
that the
don't.
one that is all the elf that has died for the three of us?
By the way, Hewlith was
Mhm.
the elf that Ty and
I was
Dom
like
knew.
just searching. I'm like, what was her name? Because I straight up don't remember. Because I just called her cute elf girl.
And
I
Koss.
don't remember.
Koss was the name Arthur and
Okay.
Ashu knew.
Right.
So never mind. It's no one actually. No, Tybern wouldn't have said yes. She would have just kind of shrugged.
Dolma shakes her head and says, "No, her name was Hewlith." Though I'm starting to
Koss.
wonder if she actually existed.
Who is Norith?
Just
Lady
I
Sel-
just say that in general.
Yeah, well, she's looking. It seems that everyone seems to know this elf.
Lady Selene looks at all of you and then looks to Kip. How much do you trust these people? We are discussing things that are very, very sensitive. And Kip says, Arthur's my brother. I trust him with my life. And his friends? And Kip, hesitates. If they're Arthur's friends, he chooses wisely.
I met them this morning.
Except for a
We've
shoe.
been together for much longer than a morning.
Except for her.
I
I'm
will
her
s-
bodyguard.
I will say the sensitive information seems to be finding us.
Yes, so it would seem. Very well. You are the ones that are dealing with this, so I suppose it's your right to know. Yes, Sky gave me half of her journal. She was researching a way to... She was researching a way to unite all the elves again. I do not know what she found, but whatever she did find terrified her so much that she tore her journal in half and gave half of it to me for safekeeping. She had an apprentice, Noreth, a high elf, who idolized Sky. There is only one true elf left. Noreth wanted to be like Sky, a true elf. When Sky tore the journal and gave me half of it, Noreth disagreed. Violently disagreed. I'm afraid, my friends, there is a very likely chance that you are being used.
At that, Dolma will take the star pendant and the card with the green dragon on it and slap those on the table as well, next to the book. And her face is just lined with tension.
Finn will add or not Finn, oh god.
Holy shit, it's Finn!
I hear
So many!
Jarek's in the garage. Just go check it out, guys. I'll explain later.
Jarek is playing Fortnite.
It's a really bad No, Kai will get up and put the pendant on the table as well, and kind of shrug and whisper, I suppose this isn't much of any use.
I am unfamiliar with the pendant, but Noreth is very skilled at deception. She is probably using you all to find the journal. Though I will say, because Dolma and Tyburn would know this, the part of the journal that you have, you can't read the original writing, but what was quote-unquote translated for you talked about Finian being the last one to see Jarek and Sky knowing where Finian is. But it's a translation, not the original. The original language is True Elf. You don't know how to read it.
Do you know how to read this language?
Lady Selene will look at it and shake her head. I know none who can. Not anymore.
It's just Sky, huh?
Unless you are aware of
No.
anyone else who can speak True Elf, yes.
No,
Can-
also the elf knew the true language at least.
True.
That is true.
So people who train under her could probably know it?
And me.
Oh,
And I could take a crack at it. I know if you
no.
Oh,
What do you mean you can know this?
I have a lot of time in my life, and I dedicated quite a bit to reading languages that might be dead.
Neat. So
Can
you can read
you-
these.
Lady Selene looks at both Ashu and Kai. When you said you would take a crack at it, were you saying that you would simply guess, or do you actually know something?
I said I'd take a crack at it, but if our new friend here can read it. Although I would still like to look at it if you don't mind.
Lady Selene would hold out a hand towards Ty and Dolma. May I please?
Sure. Just don't burn it, I guess.
I have no intentions of the sort. And she'll take it, and as she takes it, she'll hand it to Ashu. Can you understand this? And Ashu, you start reading it. It is in beautiful high True Elf. Very well written. The page that is opened up on is an entry that reads something similar to the following. What I have found is too dangerous. Too many lives would be lost. I must seek another path. I must keep this hidden. I must separate this knowledge.
And is the translation any close to this?
It's exactly word for word.
Okay.
And you quickly look through it, and all the translations are accurate.
Okay. Ashu carefully bends the pages to make sure that they're not tattered in any particular way. But she's nodding and reading along, and just every once in a while takes note of certain things, some less important, but mostly just kind of going like, this is all very accurate. The translation is as best as it can be.
I see.
She does flip to the end, though, to make sure that that part in particular of her and Jarek.
Yes, you take some time, but you are able to find what they were speaking about. That Finian, I'll paraphrase, but basically Sky and Finn traveled together for a long time, and they were searching for Jarek as Finn wanted to see her friend one more time. And Sky speaks of Finian finally actually finding Jarek, confronting him, and desperately trying to convince him to return with her. Though this was a second-hand account of what Finian had told her. So, but it makes it very clear that after Finian failed to convince Jarek to return, he stepped, and the words say, away from this world.
At that mention, she kind of scrunches her mouth and just kind of like,
and that Finn was the only one who knew where, as it literally says, as Finian showed Sky a key of sorts that Jarek had given to her in case anyone ever needed to reach him.
Let's see. She would relay that particular passage for everyone else who doesn't know about this particular passage, which is most of them.
Right. So Selene listens in silence and then shakes her head. Oh, Finian, you poor fool. Does it say what happened to Finn?
Does it say what happened to Finn?
No, it doesn't.
No.
Perhaps it's in the other half of the journal. Finn traveled a lot. I do not know where she is. And she motions back to the door. The one that you noticed that looked familiar. To the rest of the world, and to anyone who asks you, I hope, that is Finian, the hero from the war. Am I to be understood?
Ashu, takes some pause and then nods. She didn't quite even realize that was supposed to be a Finn.
Right, the other people recognized her. Ashu did not. It recognized the name more than anything else.
Yeah.
Hang on 1 second. I'm going to drag Criana to the secret room. It is getting late. So let me wrap up the session with this, and we'll start again next week.
I'd like to get a nap in before work.
Yeah. Oh my God, poor Burn.
So, Lady Selene will say, then perhaps North is telling the truth. After all, the best way to manipulate people is to seed lies with truth. And I'm no longer surprised that all of you happen to be gathered. Someone who can actually read the language of the true elves just happens to be gathered with someone who has access to me and the journal. And with the other people with half the journal.
Kai looks over at Ori and just says, I guess we're a fluke.
We're just kind of stumbling into this, but it's okay.
I mean, that's all right. I kind of enjoy the ride.
It's a nice stumble. It's a nice tumble.
Yes.
However,
What pop song are you writing?
on the one hand, it seems clear that that journal, the other half that I hold, is important. On the other hand, that provides a complication. Her journal was placed in the vault of Avertan with many other priceless treasures, as I swore to keep it safe. The key to that vault was stolen from me by a crime lord in the city named Xanathar. Everyone roll me a history check.
Okay.
Sorry, I had to free my cat.
Sure.
History check?
Yes, a shoe with advantage.
Okay.
Not that you need it. Not that you
hold
need
on, I might get a 20.
You might get a 20.
Oh,
Jesus
no.
Christ.
Shu's the only one that knows this, which actually kind of makes sense. Xanathar is a beholder who runs a local criminal organization and is known for being power hungry and very, very intelligent. And yes, I didn't misspeak, is a beholder.
How local?
Avertan.
Okay.
That's pretty local.
Pretty local.
So is he related at all to that beholder we destroyed a while
No.
back?
I mean,
can't remember his
as
name right
players, no. He's
Okay.
not. But he is the guy that the book Xanathar's
Shalta.
Guide to Everything is told. Yeah,
That's
Shalta is who you think of. But no,
Oh,
he
fuck
is
that guy.
he is the guy that Xanathar's Guide to Everything is named after.
Yeah.
Ashu, you would know this. And we will end this session there and pick this up next week. As we try and untangle this horrible, beautiful mess that we have made in session 1.
Yeah. That should have been over several sessions.
You know what? There's no should have. It could have gone any way. This is the way it's gone,
destiny.
and it's amazing.
It's pretty great.
All right, guys.
Well, now we have a direction. We're
gonna
trying to figure out what direction to go. Here's a solid one.
Yeah.
Everyone take care. We'll see you next time.
Okay. Good night.
Bye.
Bye.